urban cultivation, starting my immortal path from key refining level 1. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction, so don't try any techniques you hear here in real life. Your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 226 I'll Take Your Life. Su Yang frowned and asked, "What's wrong, young master?" Xiao Ting just contacted me and said the Su family's enemies have arrived and are currently at the Su family estate. He's been ordered by the head of the family to take you as far away from Jiangbei as possible, Guo Yi said anxiously. What? Upon hearing this, Su Yang immediately hung up the phone and hastily used the A World Away technique, vanishing instantly. Here they come. The evil hand has finally arrived. How dare you plot against the Su family? Tonight, I will rip you to pieces. Meanwhile, at the Su family estate, Su Qianqan, Su Shenbing, Xiao Ting, and all the Su family's secret guards were confronting Shi Zhuan and Duan Sihei. Young master, who are you, and why have you repeatedly targeted the Su family? Su Qianqan, standing at the front, demanded gravely. Haha, Shi Zhuan showed a playful smile and said in a cold voice, "Old thing, you are not qualified to know my identity. Tonight, all of you in the Su family will die." Su Qianqan heard this and said with a bad face, "Huh? What you said is too absolute. If I can stop you once, I can stop you a second time. Our Su family is not a soft persimmon, haha, old thing, you are indeed strong." Su Qianqan with a crew cut and white hair is something, Shi Zhuan laughed disdainfully. Last time, I just didn't expect that the small Jiangbei would actually have a master in the late stage of the Earth sect, so I failed, but this time, I brought helpers and I don't need to do it myself. Shi Zhuan looked at Duan Sihei next to him and said lightly, "Sect Master Duan, we can start." However, I changed my mind. Don't kill them. I want all the people in the Su family to have their hands and feet broken and tortured. Shi Zhuan smiled playfully. This should be more interesting than killing them. Yes, Duan Sihei, receiving the order, stepped forward and declared coldly, "Su Qianqan, right? I can tell you my name. I am the sect master of the Shadowless sect, Duan Sihei." As he spoke, Duan Sihei ceased to conceal his aura, releasing it completely. Sovereign of the Shadowless sect, Su Qianqan's expression darkened, and he said gravely, "Your aura is terrifying. You are of the heavenly sect, haha, you have good taste." Duan Sihei chuckled softly, "With my strength, attacking you would be beneath my dignity, but you're unlucky. This sect master happened to accompany Master Shi to Jiangbei to handle some matters, so I had no choice but to eliminate you and fulfill Master Shi's wish. Now, accept Master Shi's judgment." Duan Sihei's eyes glared, and he slammed his palm forward, releasing a terrifying burst of true energy that swiftly attacked Su Qianqan. Su Qianqan gasped and quickly fought back, but he was only at the late stage of the earthly sect and was no match for Duan Sihei. Bang! With one strike, Su Qianqan was sent flying, his body tumbling to the ground, spitting blood. Father, Su Shenbing, seeing this, was instantly enraged, gnashing his teeth and charging at Duan Sihei. However, his fate was identical to Su Qianqan's, collapsing beside him, coughing up blood. HMPH, a piece of shit at the Huajin realm, you dare to attack the Xianzong? You're overestimating yourself, Duan Sihei snorted coldly, muttering, "If young Master Shi hadn't wanted to torture you, this palm from this sect master would have blasted you into bloody mist." Haha, Shi Zhuan, upon seeing this, laughed heartily. "Su Qianqan, Su Shenbing, now you understand how powerful I am. It's so easy to deal with you." With that, Shi Zhuan strode over to the Su father and son. Su Qianqan and Su Shenbing, completely incapable of fighting, lay on the ground, dying. "Haha, stop struggling. I'll crush your bones myself and turn you into creepy crawlies." Shi Zhuan smiled playfully, then suddenly attacked. Crack! 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 The sound of bones breaking echoed continuously. The Su father and son were in agony, sweat beads on their foreheads. Protect the head of the family and the master. Xiao Ting and the Su family's secret guards rushed forward. "You're looking for death?" Before Duan Sihei could make a move, Shi Zhuan swung his hand, knocking everyone to the ground. Xiao Ting, The strongest among them was at the Huojian realm, no match for Shi Zhuan. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Ting and the others lay wailing on the ground, all incapable of fighting. Su Qianqian, Su Shenbing, let's continue, Shi Zhuan sneered, and then attacked again, torturing the Su father and son bit by bit. Soon, the bones of the Su father and son were crushed, leaving them completely crippled, their bodies covered in blood from the torture. Su Qianqian, old man, you're so arrogant. Last time you almost left me in Jiangbei, and this time you're so arrogant. Shi Zhuan kicked Su Qianqian in the side, sending him sliding across the ground, his back bloodied from the friction. Then, Shi Zhuan raised his foot and stepped on Su Shenbing's face. He lowered his head and smirked, Su Shenbing, you're just a piece of trash at the Huojian level. I don't know why Aunt Yuan would fall for you and even give birth to a son for you. If Aunt Yuan saw you crippled by me, she'd definitely be extremely disappointed, right? Shi Zhuan smiled, then stomped his foot hard on Su Shenbing's face. Uncle Su, Grandpa Su, Grandpa, Great-Grandpa. Just then, Li Fixun, holding Su Yaoyao's hand, appeared in the courtyard, witnessing the scene. Shi Zhuan's gaze instantly fell on Li Fixun and Su Yaoyao, and his smile grew even wider. Yaoyao, let's go. Li Fixun instantly realized something was wrong and hurriedly pulled Su Yaoyao away. Can we leave? Shi Zhuan, seeing this, leaped up and appeared in front of Li Fixun and Su Yaoyao. He glanced at them and said with a playful smile, haha, not bad, not bad. The big beauty is stunning, and the little beauty is as delicate as a piece of jade. I really like you, mother and daughter. I'm lucky tonight. I actually met two of the most beautiful beauties. Ha ha ha. Shi Zhuan licked his lips, greed in his eyes, and slowly stretched out his claws. Li Fixun hurriedly hugged Su Yaoyao in her arms, her beautiful face filled with panic. Tisk, 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 mother and daughter, I'm so lucky tonight. Just thinking about it makes me excited. Shi Zhuan narrowed his eyes slightly, a playful smile on his lips, and his hands kept grabbing Li Fixun. But at this moment, a cold voice came from afar, its tone filled with rage. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, tonight, I will take your life. Even Jesus can't stop you. Chapter 227, Shi Zhuan, the land of Fengtian, death. Here he comes. At the crucial moment, Su Yang arrives. Disguised as Su Xuantian, he continuously activates the world away technique, finally arriving at the Su family estate in time. Su Yang has now reached the 7th level of key training, and his ability to activate it has increased exponentially. Even after teleporting from the East Mountain Woods to the Su family estate, his body still brims with spiritual energy. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on Su Yang. Brother, it's my brother, why is Uncle Xuantian here? Su Qianqian and Su Shenbing simultaneously fixed their gazes on Su Yang, surprised and delighted. Su Yang, Li Fixun heard the voice, her beautiful eyes fixed on Su Xuantian. She silently recited Su Yang's name, her nervousness easing slightly. In her eyes, Su Yang was invincible. As long as he logged into Su Xuantian's account, no one could stand up to him. Therefore, seeing Su Xuantian's face gave Li Fixun a sense of peace of mind. It's Su Xuantian. Isn't he dead? Duan Sahe frowned slightly, his expression strange, his mind filled with unknown thoughts. And so, in full view of the crowd, Su Yang, bearing Su Xuantian's face, stepped into the courtyard. Boy, are you Su Xuantian? Shi Zhuan, standing nearby, coldly questioned. Yes. Su Yang's gaze fell on Shi Zhuan, his eyes filled with murderous intent, and the air around them seemed to freeze. Aren't you dead? Shi Zhuan frowned slightly and said lightly, Sect Master Duan, what's going on? I don't know, Duan Sahe responded. I really saw Su Xuantian's head, but I didn't expect that this kid was still alive. If nothing unexpected happens, I should have been fooled. Either he deceived Dong Wensheng, or he and Dong Wensheng teamed up to deceive me. At this point, Duan Sahe's expression sank, and he sneered, but it's not a big problem. He is not dead. I can kill him again. According to the news, it was already very difficult for him to kill Jeping, who was at the half-step Earth Sect realm. At most, he was at the half-step Earth Sect realm, and there was nothing to be afraid of, Duan Sahe said in a flat tone, as if he had Su Yang in his grasp and didn't take Su Yang seriously at all. Yes, Shi Zhuan nodded, then looked up at Su Yang and smiled softly. Su Xuantian, what did you say just now? If you want to kill me, Even Jesus can't stop me. Yes, Su Yang's eyes were cold, and he said in a deep voice, however, before killing you, tell me who you are, and why you are targeting the Su family. Maybe I can give you a quick death. Ha ha ha, give me a quick death. Shi Zhuan couldn't help laughing when he heard it, and then smiled playfully. Su Xuantian, this is the funniest joke I have heard recently. With your courage, you dare to speak arrogantly in front of me, you ignorant dog, but you are courageous. If you want to know my name, I will tell you. Shi Zhuan no longer concealed it, and said arrogantly, my name is Shi Zhuan, and I come from the Fengshan land. As for why I targeted the Su family, haha, after knowing my origins, the father and son of the Su family should have guessed it. You can ask them, Shi Zhuan said lightly. The Fengshan site, Shixuan. Su Yang felt a pang of uncertainty upon hearing this. He glanced at Su Qianqan and Su Shenbing, asking, what's going on, brother? This is a long story, with many implications. It's better if you don't know. Su Qianqan, his bones broken, lay on the ground, his face pale and his energy weakened. He sighed and said, tonight, it's our Su family's feud with him. Brother, you should leave now. Indeed, Su Shenbing, standing beside him, also realized what was happening and quickly said, Uncle Xuantian, these two are incredibly powerful. You're no match for them. Don't risk unnecessary casualties. Leave on your own, Grandpa. Dad? Su Yang looked at Su Qianqan and Su Shenbing, feeling incredibly worried. But now, he had to remain calm and not reveal his identity. The Su family's enemies hailed from the Fengshan site. Su Yang had some vague knowledge of this force. The three most powerful sects in the ancient martial arts world, the Fengshan site, lay between the mountains and the sea, deep in the clouds and mist. Unexpectedly, the person plotting against the Su family actually came from the Fengshan land. This was beyond Su Yang's expectations. With Su Yang's current strength, he simply couldn't challenge the Fengshan land. Therefore, he had to hide his identity and not let anyone know that Su Xuantian was Su Yang, the dandy eldest son of the Su family. Otherwise, he would become a target of public criticism. But if he kept his identity hidden, things would be different. After tonight, no one would know he was Su Xuantian, and naturally, he wouldn't be in any trouble. Big brother, so, Su Yang acted, looking at Grandpa and saying seriously, since I've sworn brotherhood with you, the Su family's affairs are my business. How can I sit idly by in such a critical moment? Don't worry, leave these two men to me. I'll protect the Su family tonight, Su Yang said with unwavering righteousness. Then, he stopped looking at Su Qianqan and turned his gaze to Shi Zhuan, saying in a deep voice, if you want to destroy the Su family, you'll have to walk over my dead body first. Haha, you don't know your place. Before Shi Zhuan could say anything, Duan Sihe beside him said coldly, young Master Shi, let me kill him for you. No need. Shi Zhuan shook his head and said with a playful smile, he's only a half-step Earth sect master. He poses no harm to me. Since he's been so rude to me, let me finish him off myself and teach him that there's always someone better than you, Shi Zhuan said with a cold smile. Alright, Duan Sihe nodded and then stood aside with a faint smile on his face. From beginning to end, he didn't take Su Yang seriously, treating him with utter disdain. Su Xuantian, at this moment, Shi Zhuan sneered, you're so young, yet you've already reached the half-step Earth sect. Your talent is certainly not weak, but compared to me, you're far, far inferior. Come on, attack. Let me see your true abilities. I'm afraid if I strike first, you'll be instantly wiped out, Shi Zhuan said disdainfully. Really? Su Yang smiled faintly and raised an eyebrow. Are you sure you want me to strike first? Of course, Shi Zhuan said fearlessly, hands behind his back. All right then, Su Yang smiled, a playful smile still playing on his face. However, the next moment, his body vanished from its original position. Whoosh! With a sound of breaking through the air, Su Yang's body suddenly appeared before Shi Zhuan. Huh? Shi Zhuan was startled, a rare flicker of fear on his face. He wanted to resist, but alas, he didn't stand a chance. Puff! Su Yang used his hand as a knife, his spiritual energy as a blade. In an instant, he slashed Shi Zhuan's neck. Bright red blood gushed out, staining Su Yang's cheeks red. Oh! Shi Zhuan clutched his neck, his body collapsing to the ground before he could finish a single word. Then, Su Yang calmly wiped the blood from his face and smiled softly, sorry, you made me make the first move. Chapter 228 The Powerful Su Yaoyao. Shi Zhuan, The young prodigy from the Fengshan land met his end at Su Yang's hands. He was only a late Earth sect cultivator, a realm Su Yang had defeated before. The Shadowless sect's second elder, also a late Earth sect cultivator, had also been annihilated by Su Yang. With Su Yang's current strength, he could easily rival, or even defeat, a peak Earth sect cultivator. Wow! Shi Zhuan's death stunned everyone present. Uncle Zhuan. Uncle Xuantian killed a late Earth sect cultivator so easily. My dear brother is truly formidable, and so righteous that he's willing to live and die with the Su family. I was right about him. Su Shenbing and Su Qianqan were both in shock, having never expected Su Yang to prevail. Young Master Shi, Duan Sihei, standing nearby, saw Shi Zhuan collapse, his expression instantly tense. He rushed forward to check, only to discover that Shi Zhuan's throat had been slashed and he was already dead, beyond revival. Then, Duan Sihei stood up and stared at Su Yang, his face as dark as water. He was furious and said, Su Xuantian, you're so bold. Do you know who he is? How dare you kill him? Su Yang met Duan Sihei's gaze and said calmly, why not? HMPH, Duan Sihei gritted his teeth and said, young Master Shi Zhuan is from the Fengshan land, Mount Tai, and is the grandson of the Master of Mount Tai. The Master of Mount Tai is one of the most powerful beings in the world. Who do you think you are? How dare you kill the Master of Mount Tai's grandson? You're courting death. Duan Sihei's eyes were bloodshot as he gnashed his teeth at Su Yang, wishing he could tear him apart. Previously, he had been careless, assuming Su Yang was just a weakling at the half-step Earth sect realm, vulnerable, and that young Master Shi would easily defeat him. Duan Sihei was completely unprepared, and Su Yang, using his a world away technique, reached such extreme speed that Duan Sihei had no time to intervene. By the time he realized what was happening, Shi Zhuan was already dead. Shi Zhuan, the grandson of the Taishan master. Accompanied by Duan Sihei, he died in Jiangbei. Duan Sihei knew full well that he was to blame, and his expression was naturally grim. So what? Su Yang, unfazed, said calmly, the Taishan master is nothing. If you cross me, you'll all die. You arrogant brat. This sect master will kill you right now, and let you die as an apology. Furious, Duan Sihei summoned his true energy and swiftly struck Su Yang in the chest. Quick-witted and swift, Su Yang, surrounded by spiritual energy, quickly fought back. Bang! The next moment, the two men collided, and the terrifying aftermath of the battle rippled outward. Puff! Su Yang, unable to hold out for even a second, was blasted away by Duan Sihei, his body splattered with blood as he slammed heavily to the ground, spitting out a pool of gore. Duan Sihei, on the other hand, stood still, seemingly still possessed, having clearly not exerted his full strength. With a single move, he defeated Su Yang, a key training level 7 cultivator. A Xianzhuang expert, truly terrifying. Boy, you are ignorant of your own limitations. You have committed heinous crimes and deserve death. Not only you, but every member of the Su family must die today. This sect leader demands that you accompany young Master Shi in his burial. Duan Sihei, looking mad, sullen, strode towards Su Yang, his energy surging in his palms. Not good, this man is incredibly powerful. With my current strength, I'm no match for him. Su Yang hurriedly stood up, wiping the blood from his mouth. His expression was grave, and he muttered, at this point, I have no choice but to perform the blood sacrifice. The blood sacrifice was Su Yang's most powerful trump card. The last time he used the blood sacrifice was against Jeping, a half-step Earth sect cultivator. That time, after Su Yang killed Jeping, he learned his sister was in trouble. He took a helicopter and headed straight to Dongjiang, wiping out 80,000 enemy troops from Country D. Fortunately, he had obtained a blood-sucking pearl from Country D's military advisor, Chen Shengaian, which replenished his ki and blood. In just a few days, he was back to peak form. However, the blood-sucking pearl wasn't always there, and Su Yang was wary of the weakened state after the blood sacrifice. Therefore, he would never use the blood sacrifice technique unless absolutely necessary. But now, facing Duan Sihei, a master of unparalleled strength, Su Yang had no choice but to initiate the blood sacrifice. With this thought in mind, Su Yang hurriedly formed seals with his hands, his face sullen, his eyes gradually turning red, and the spiritual energy surrounding him became violent. Buzz! The next moment, a violent wind rose from the ground, whipping Su Yang's clothes with a rustling sound. Su Yang's eyes were bloodshot, his aura had more than doubled, and his spiritual energy was incomparably violent. The blood sacrifice technique had been successfully activated. Su Yang's realm had rapidly ascended to the 8th level of key training, his strength exponentially increasing. What's that? Duan Sihei's eyes glared at Su Yang, his brow furrowed. Su Yang's face darkened as he sternly said, "There's no need to tell you. You want to kill me, don't you? Come on, HMPH, a trifling trick. You think you can challenge me by using some random tricks to improve your strength?" Duan Sihei sneered, "Naive? Die." With that, Duan Sihei launched an offensive, swiftly striking Su Yang with a palm strike. Su Yang, using the A World Away technique, dodged the blow, then appeared at the 7 o'clock position, his fist shrouded in spiritual energy, suddenly striking Duan Sihei. Duan Sihei raised an eyebrow and, with a casual wave, repelled Su Yang. However, Su Yang's body vanished again as he flew backwards. When he reappeared, he was already behind Duan Sihei, swiftly unleashing 2 pre-condensed water dragons. The 2 water dragons, launched at cunning angles and with astonishing force, struck Duan Sihei directly. A peak Earth Sect master would have been unable to withstand the onslaught. But Duan Sihei was a Heaven Sect expert after all, and he instantly channeled his ki to protect his body. Bang! Bang! The next moment, the 2 water dragons collided with Duan Sihei's ki shield, a muffled sound echoing from the scene. Haha, good technique, okay, but not enough power, Duan Sihei sneered, then suddenly exerted force, shattering the 2 water dragons. Simultaneously, he leaped forward and, with lightning speed, pressed his palm against Su Yang's chest. Su Yang was powerless to resist, and his body was once again sent flying. Puff! Su Yang's blood stained the sky, and upon landing, he coughed up blood, his face extremely pale. The Heaven Sect was too strong. Despite his blood sacrifice technique, he was still no match for Duan Sihei, and he was not even able to fight back. Su Xuantian. Stop struggling in vain. Prepare to die. Duan Sihei strode towards Su Yang, a fierce glint in his eyes, his ki gathering in his palms. The threat of death. At that moment, Su Yang truly felt the threat of death, his pupils shrinking rapidly. He lay on the ground, feeling helpless for the first time since his rebirth. Was he going to die like this? Su Yang shifted his gaze, slowly scanning the crowd. Su Qianqin, Su Shenbing, Li Fixun, Zioting, the numerous Su family secret guards. Finally, Su Yang's gaze fell on Su Yaoyao, and his eyes welled up slightly. My daughter. This is my daughter. It's a pity that I won't be able to see her grow up. Su Yang's eyes were doting, a smile playing on his lips as he stared at Su Yaoyao. Dad, you are dead. Su Yaoyao seemed to recognize Su Yang, and a look of concern suddenly crossed her tender face. Then, she hurried over to Su Yang, arms outstretched, shielding him behind her, and fiercely declared, "Bad guy, I won't let you hurt my dad, don't be afraid, Dad. Yaoyao is a peerless master. Yaoyao will protect you," Su Yaoyao said seriously. Cough. Su Yang coughed up blood and was about to let Su Yaoyao go, but Duan Sihei, with a vicious look in his eyes, said, "Haha, little thing, you two will die together." As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Sihei slapped out with terrifying force. "No," Su Yang roared in despair, his eyes bloodshot, but he couldn't react at all. Boom. But just as Duan Sihei's palm struck Su Yaoyao, a terrifying force suddenly surged within her, blocking Duan Sihei's attack and even sending him flying. What? Duan Sihei took 4 or 5 steps back, regaining his composure, and looked at Su Yaoyao with fear. At this moment, Su Yaoyao's whole body exudes a brilliant light, her long hair is like a waterfall, and her eyes have changed color at some point. Originally normal black, but now it is red, like red agate. The strangest thing is that her aura has rapidly climbed and increased to a terrifying level. At this time, Su Yaoyao's temperament has also undergone earth-shaking changes. She was a cute little lolly before, soft and sticky. But now, her whole body is cold, her face is as gloomy as water, staring at Duan Sihei, and said coldly, "If you hurt my dad, I will kill you." Please, brothers, please be gentle, the climax is not easy to write, and all kinds of things need to be handled well, please be patient, and don't give rewards today. Chapter 229 The seal is lifted, Xianzong Su Yaoyao. You hurt my father. I'll kill you. Su Yaoyao's face was as gloomy as water, and she spoke in a cold voice. Her earlier innocence was completely gone, replaced by a chilling and terrifying tone. Su Yaoyao's body was that of a child, but her every move was that of a murderous demon. The aura she exuded oppressed everyone present, making it nearly impossible for them to breathe. Su Qianqian, Su Shenbing, Li Fixun, and all the Su family's secret guards had already fainted from the aura. Only Su Yang and Duan Sihei remained conscious. Yao, Su Yang, nearly dead, saw his daughter's sudden transformation, his eyes filled with shock. What had happened? Why was such a terrifying power hidden within Yao? This power was not only powerful, but also deeply hidden, likely sealed within Yao. Su Yang could clearly sense that this power did not belong to Yao. Yao was only a 4-year-old girl. Even with her incredible talent, she could not possibly cultivate such a powerful force. If the guess was correct, it was a supreme being who had passed on his power to Su Yao and, through a unique method, sealed it within her. This power was unavailable to her except in a life or death situation. Just now, Su Yao stood up to defend Su Yang, and Duan Sihei's palm strike broke the seal. As a result, Su Yao suddenly felt an influx of immense power, a transformed person. Duan Sihei, who was not far away, looked at Su Yao carefully, but was suddenly stunned and muttered, "Xianzong, you are a little girl of 4 or 5 years old, but you are as strong as me. Are you a master of Xianzong?" Duan Sihei was extremely shocked. After making sure that he was not mistaken, he guessed, "If I am not mistaken, you should have received power from a strong man of Xianzong. After receiving the power, you can burst out the power of Xianzong. The person who transmitted the power to you must be at least at the peak of Xianzong." Duan Sihei's face was solemn, and he said in a deep voice, "Little girl, tell me honestly, who are you and where do you come from? You hurt my father, I will kill you, kill you." Su Yao did not respond to Duan Sihei, and the figure suddenly rushed out and attacked Duan Sihei directly. "HMPH, if you don't want to answer, forget it." Duan Sihei's eyes glared, and he spoke coldly, "Although you're also from the Xianzong, you're still just a little girl. So what if you're at the same realm as me? Killing you will, at most, require some skill on my part. Furthermore, everyone in this manner tonight must die. Eliminate the entire system, leaving no evidence. Even if you have a formidable background, even if you come from a powerful ancient martial arts sect, I'm not afraid of retaliation." Duan Sihei let out a cold sneer, mobilizing his energies to confront Su Yao. Bang! 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 The next moment, the two engaged in a fierce clash, with energies raging in the air, creating a magnificent spectacle. Xianzong. Ancient martial artists at this level are truly terrifying, completely surpassing those of Dizan. The gap between a peak Dizan and a Xianzong is even greater than the gap between a Grandmaster and a Dizan. There's simply no comparison. Therefore, even if Su Yang performed a blood sacrifice and quickly forced his way to the 8th level of key training, he still couldn't contend with someone at this level. Su Yang deduced that only by advancing to the 9th level of key training could he face a Xianzong-level ancient warrior with any strength. Boom! The battle between Su Yao and Duan Sihei continued, the aftermath of the clashing keys sweeping across the surrounding area. Although Su Yao was only 4 years old, her internal strength was at least a century old, so she wasn't at a disadvantage in a short period of time. However, it was clear that Duan Sihei, with his vast combat experience, was gradually draining away Su Yao's ki. If nothing unexpected happened, Su Yao's ki would be completely depleted in 10 to 20 minutes at most. At that point, Duan Sihei would be able to easily defeat her. This isn't going to work. Yao will be defeated sooner or later. Su Yang, whose breath was still weak, could tell at a glance that Su Yao couldn't hold out for much longer. Concern was written all over his face as he racked his brains for a solution. Suddenly, Su Yang's mind flashed with inspiration, and he instantly came up with an idea. He muttered, "The East Palace key I obtained today from Great Elder Su Shanju might be useful. This object is a meteorite, imbued with immense power. Su Shanju isn't a cultivator, and controlling it could threaten my life, and I possess spiritual energy within me. If I channel all of that into the East Palace key, the power it unleashes will be even more terrifying." With this thought in mind, Su Yang, regardless of his injuries, sat cross-legged and forcibly activated the 9-nether prison suppression technique. The East Palace key is a supremely powerful artifact for cultivators. Su Shanju's previous ability to control it must have been a recognition of his master through a blood oath. If Su Yang truly desired to use it, he would have to erase Su Shanju's mark and then transfer his own blood and soul imprint into the East Palace key. Then, Su Yang would be able to wield the East Palace key at will, perhaps even having a chance to annihilate Duan Sihe in one blow. However, this would take time. Su Yang didn't pause, racing against time to remove the aura imprint left by Su Shanzhu on the East Palace key. There's still time, there definitely is. Yao, wait for me. Meanwhile, at the Nine Gates Black Market. Earlier, after Su Yang left the Nine Gates Black Market, Liu Wei and Wang Song informed the alliance leader, Jin Shangsu. They knew Su Yang was going to take on the Shadowless Sect's Great Elder, a peak-level Earth Sect Master. Liu Wei and Wang Song were completely loyal to Su Yang, but they worried their master wouldn't be a match for the Shadowless Sect's Great Elder. That's why they contacted Jin Shangsu, hoping she would help him. Alliance leader, this is basically what's going on. Young Master Su has been away for some time. The Shadowless Sect's Great Elder is incredibly powerful, and I'm worried he'll become careless and fall into his trap, Liu Wei said. Don't worry. Since Su Xuantian dared to meet the Great Elder, it means he's confident of victory. Given his character, he'd never do anything he wasn't sure of. Jin Shangsu, dressed in white and wearing a butterfly mask, a faint smile played on her lips. She had long known that Su Xuantian was the dandy young man who had stolen her virginity, Su Yang. In her eyes, Su Yang had concealed his strength for so many years, never revealing it even when he was despised and reviled. This kind of character was truly rare. Moreover, someone who could endure so much must have been extremely cautious and careful. If Su Yang wasn't sure of defeating the Great Elder, he wouldn't have rushed forward. So Jin Shangsu wasn't worried at all. Leader, that's right. Upon hearing this, Liu Wei clasped his fists and stopped talking about the matter. Well, you guys guard the Nine Gates Black Market. I've been in Jiangbei for several days now, and I've done what I needed to do. Tomorrow I'll take Yao away. Okay, Jin Shangsu was speaking when she suddenly sensed something unusual. Her beautiful face beneath the mask suddenly darkened. Yao's seal has been lifted. What on earth happened at the Su family manor? Yao, please don't get into trouble. An icy aura emanated from Jin Shangsu's body, and her figure instantly vanished. Wherever her feet stepped, frost formed on the ground. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230 Controlling the Key to the East Palace. 10 minutes later. At the Su family manor, Su Yang sat cross-legged, sweat beading on his forehead. He was completely absorbed in his battle, on the verge of controlling the key to the East Palace. In the distance, Su Yao battled Duan Sihe. Her tiny body radiated terrifying power, forcing Duan Sihe back repeatedly. It seems I underestimated this girl. Her power is beyond my imagination. Duan Sihe trembled, his face clouded with fear. He thought to himself, if that's the case, I must eliminate her, or else there will be endless trouble. Although her power is unfathomable, she doesn't know how to harness it. Ultimately, she's no match for me. Duan Sihe was incredibly confident, his eyes gleaming with murderous intent. His current strategy was to conserve his strength and retreat in order to advance, so he constantly dodged Su Yao's attacks. Duan Sihe had already sensed that Su Yao's inner ki had been depleted by more than half, leaving only a small amount. If he could just hold on for a few more minutes, once Su Yao's ki was depleted, wouldn't he be able to do whatever he wanted? With this in mind, Duan Sihe continued to dodge, avoiding a direct confrontation with Su Yao. Whoever hurt my father must die. Su Yao's face was as gloomy as water, her mind overwhelmed. She attacked recklessly, chasing Duan Sihe. After several minutes of exhaustion, Su Yao was panting, her vitality weakening. At this moment, after more than 10 minutes of depletion, her internal ki was almost depleted. Duan Sihe chuckled coldly, little girl, you've had enough fighting, now it's my turn. With that, Duan Sihe narrowed his eyes and slapped Su Yao with his palm. Su Yao, seeing this, tried to mobilize her ki to counterattack, but found she had very little left. Anxiety crossed her face. Bang! The next moment, Duan Sihe's attack was imminent, and Su Yao had to raise her hands to defend herself. However, due to insufficient ki, she was sent flying, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Duan Sihe didn't let Su Yao go, instead pursuing her. He leaped forward and delivered 3 consecutive palm strikes, each landing on Su Yaoyao's body. Bang! 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 Su Yaoyao's body couldn't withstand the 3 blows, and she lay on the ground, her face pale and her breath weak. Little thing, you have the power of a peak Xianzong master for 100 years. I bet you have an unfathomable background. If I'm not mistaken, you must be from the Fengshan land, between the mountains and the sea, deep in the clouds and mist, a vast and ancient power. Duan Sahe stepped forward, grabbed the dying Su Yaoyao with one hand, and lifted her above his head. His face darkened. He said, I fear such powers deeply and dare not defend them, therefore, I will never let you go. You must die tonight, and everyone here will die too. No one will know it was me who killed you. Duan Sahe looked up at Su Yaoyao in his hands, his face grim, and a cold smile curled his lips. Then, with a sudden force, he flung Su Yaoyao into the air. He then gathered his ki and launched a punch, brimming with it. Bang! The punch landed squarely on Su Yaoyao's abdomen, sending her flying and spilling blood into the air. Now, I finally succeeded. Meanwhile, Su Yang had successfully seized the key to the East Palace and immediately regained his composure, only to see Su Yaoyao already defeated, sent flying by Duan Sahe's punch. Yaoyao! Su Yang's eyes crimson, his fury uncontrollable. He soared into the air and caught the falling Su Yaoyao. Seconds later, Su Yang, holding her, landed steadily on the ground. The moment his ki was exhausted, Su Yaoyao had returned to her normal self. Her eyes were no longer red, her long, flowing hair no longer stood on end, and her terrifying aura and power vanished without a trace. Su Yaoyao was now a naive, childish little girl, but her face, once delicate, was now a pale white. Goo. At this moment, Su Yaoyao was lying in Su Yang's arms, spitting blood from her mouth. Her breath was extremely weak, but she blamed herself. Dad, I'm sorry, Yaoyao didn't defeat the bad guy. Goo, Yaoyao. Su Yang hugged Su Yaoyao tightly. Tears instantly burst out, crying and said, Dad didn't protect you well, I'm sorry, it's all Dad's fault. No, don't blame Dad. Su Yaoyao saw Su Yang crying, so she raised her white and tender little hands, wiped away Su Yang's tears, and then forced a smile. Dad is already very powerful. Mom told Yaoyao that Dad is a super playboy and unlearned. Now Yaoyao knows that Dad is so powerful. I knew that Yaoyao's dad must not be what Mom said. Yaoyao's dad is a strong man. Su Yaoyao was getting weaker and weaker, and was obviously in great pain, but in front of Su Yang, she always kept smiling. She didn't want her father to see her pain, so as not to make her father sad. Yaoyao, Su Yang growled in a low voice, then took a deep breath and said seriously, don't say anything for now. Just watch here. Daddy's going to defeat the bad guy. Dad, run. You can't beat him, Su Yaoyao nervously urged him. Trust Daddy. Su Yang smiled gently and gently placed Su Yaoyao on the ground. He stood up and fixed his gaze on Duan Sahe. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He growled, you've trespassed into the Su family, injured everyone, and now you've injured Yaoyao. I want you to die a horrible death. With that, Su Yang pulled the East Palace key from his storage ring and tossed it into the air. A buzz. Then, Su Yang began to channel his spiritual energy into the East Palace key. Haha, Duan Sahe saw this, but didn't take it seriously. A hint of contempt flashed in his eyes, and he sneered, you're just a defeated general, yet you still dare to speak so arrogantly? You're just a dead duck. Well, it's time to finish you off. As he spoke, Duan Sahe's voice abruptly stopped, his expression suddenly darkening, and his gaze fell on the East Palace key. He vaguely sensed that this object made him very uneasy. HMPH, what are you doing again? You really think you can defeat me like this? Ridiculous. Despite his words, Duan Sahe was truly frightened. He immediately gathered a ball of true energy and attacked Su Yang, intending to interrupt his movements. Bang! Su Yang didn't dodge, resisting the attack head-on, and then continued to inject spiritual energy into the East Palace key. Damn it! Duan Sahe panicked even more, and he attacked continuously, shooting countless streams of true energy at Su Yang. Bang! 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 Puff! Su Yang took it all. His body couldn't handle it at all. A single blow could severely injure him. Now, he persevered with a shred of determination. Finally, his spiritual energy was almost exhausted. Shadowless Sect Master, prepare to die? Su Yang gritted his teeth, thrusting his hands forward. Boom! In an instant, The East Palace Key erupted with terrifying force, shattering the furnishings surrounding the manor. With lightning speed, the East Palace Key charged towards Duan Sihei. Chapter 231, Final Kill. Duan Sihei was shocked, his eyes filled with horror, his expression changing color. Horrible. What could possibly be capable of unleashing such immense energy? Terrified, Duan Sihei gasped in shock and quickly launched a counterattack, exerting all his strength to form a barrier of ki to shield himself. Clang. Almost instantly, the East Palace Key, controlled by Su Yang, struck Duan Sihei's ki barrier with a resounding bang. Immediately afterwards, the ki barrier in front of Duan Sihei began to crack at a visible speed. At first, there were spiderweb-like cracks, and seconds later, the barrier collapsed with a bang. What? Duan Sihei stared at the scene in disbelief, his first instinct being to flee. But before he could move, the East Palace Key flew towards him, piercing his heart. The next moment, a hole as thick as a wrist appeared in Duan Sihei's chest, and blood gushed out instantly. At that moment, Duan Sihei lowered his head, his face filled with horror as he saw his wound. His heart had been pierced, his death was certain, no second chance. He was about to die. I won't accept this, Duan Sihei roared, then gurgled out a stream of blood, his body collapsing straight down. The leader of the Shadowless sect, a master of the Heavenly sect, had vanished, reduced to corpse. Yao. After annihilating Duan Sihei, Su Yang turned and walked towards Su Yao, his steps stumbling, his breathing becoming increasingly rapid, his eyelids heavy, and he collapsed as well. He was severely injured. Su Yang had already been injured by Duan Sihei, and in a critical moment, he used the secret technique of blood sacrifice to forcibly increase his strength. But he was still no match for Duan Sihei, and was once again severely injured by Duan Sihei, leaving him on the verge of death. Later, Su Yao stepped forward to challenge Duan Sihei, giving Su Yang a chance to catch his breath. But instead of recovering from his injuries, Su Yang focused solely on the East Palace Key. Furthermore, just now, when he activated the East Palace Key, he had taken several attacks from Duan Sihei. Each of those attacks was fatal, yet Su Yang with incredible fortitude had managed to withstand them. Now, with all of Su Yang's spiritual energy channeled into the East Palace Key, the backlash from the blood sacrifice technique had arrived prematurely. Combined with his injuries, he naturally couldn't withstand it. Furthermore, Su Yang had originally disguised himself as Su Xuantian, but due to the depletion of spiritual energy, the disguise could no longer be maintained, and he had reverted to his original form. Yao. After collapsing to the ground, Su Yang, concerned for Su Yao's safety, gritted his teeth and struggled to crawl towards her, his movements very slowly. But soon, he could no longer hold on, closed his eyes, and lost consciousness. With a whoosh. At the same time, after suppressing Duan Sihei, the East Palace Key, which had been suspended in midair, transformed into a beam of aurora and penetrated Su Yang's mind. The scene calmed down. Everyone in the Su family manor collapsed to the ground. A few minutes later, Jin Shangsu, leader of the Nine Gates Alliance, appeared. Yao, Su Yang, Fei Zhuan, Uncle Su, Grandpa Su. Jin Shangsu's face was heavy. After examining them, a trace of grief flashed in her eyes. Fei Zhuan is fine, just injured. She will be able to recover after a rest. Uncle Su and Grandpa Su, they are not in danger of life, but their bones are shattered. There is no possibility of recovery. They will have to use wheelchairs in the future. Yao's seal was broken and she was seriously injured, but fortunately she inherited my grandmother's 100-year skills. Her bones are different from ordinary people. After returning to the Nine Gates Alliance, she will be able to recover as before within 2 months. As for Su Yang, Jin Shangsu's gaze fell on Su Yang, her beautiful eyes filled with strong grief, and tears wet her eyes. His blood and ki are dried up, his tendons and veins are broken, and his internal organs are seriously damaged. There is no medicine to cure him. Even if I invite Zhang Ruomu, the head of the Medicine King Palace, he will never be able to cure him. Now, his breathing has almost disappeared. He is already a dead man. Even the Dallo Immortal cannot save him. Su Yang, Jin Shangsu cried, squatting in front of Su Yang's corpse, and took off the mask on her face for the first time, with tears in her eyes. Why didn't you hold on a little longer? I came to Jiangbei this time, but I haven't met you formally yet. Su Yang, do you know that I am not from Jiangbei, but the young leader of the Nine Gates Alliance? Many years ago, I hid my identity and came to Jiangbei as the distant niece of the head of the Jiang family, a small family in Jiangbei. My purpose was to come to Jiangbei deliberately for a prophecy. Actually, that night 5 years ago, I could resist, but I didn't, because having a relationship with you was the purpose of my coming to Jiangbei. Zhang Zuier looked at Su Yang, whose body was gradually getting colder, with tears in her eyes. 5 years later, I brought your daughter to Jiangbei. I originally wanted to let her see you, and then take her away. I didn't want to have too much entanglement with you, but when I found out you were Su Xuantian, I realized the prophecy was true. The old master of the Xianji sect was right. You are the one who can save the Nine Gates Alliance. So I changed my rest schedule, intending to confess everything to you when the time is right. What a pity, Su Yang, you left this world before I could tell you. I'm sorry. I lied to you. I made you feel guilty for 5 years. I'm sorry, but life must go on. The Nine Gates Alliance is waiting for Yao Yao and me. We can't stay to see you off. Let our story be sealed forever. Goodbye. Jin Shangsu choked back tears, wiping them from her face. Then, hugging Su Yao Yao, her figure flashed and disappeared into the night. Before leaving, Jin Shangsu looked at Su Yang once more, her eyes filled with reluctance and grief. But Su Yang was already dead, and Yao Yao needed to return to the Nine Gates Alliance for treatment. Jin Shangsu didn't have the time, nor did she want to attend Su Yang's funeral. It would only deepen her heartbreak. Although Jin Shangsu left, she had someone notify the Li family and Hua Shimeo. Jin Shangsu knew that the Su family and the Li family had a close relationship, so she asked the Li family to come and deal with the aftermath. As for notifying Hua Shimeo, it was to heal everyone in the Su family. After all, Hua Shimeo was the most outstanding doctor in Jiangbei. About 20 minutes later, Li Chunfeng brought everyone in the Li family to the Su family, and Hua Shimeo also came with him. Under Li Chunfeng's instructions, the servants of the Li family properly handled the affairs of the Su family. When their eyes fell on Su Yang, everyone showed a sad look and felt deeply sorry. Especially Li Chunfeng, he gave all the ancestral Tongshan to Su Yang. Seeing that Su Yang was about to rise, who knew that the Su family encountered such a big change? Hey, Kiwu, no matter what, Su Yang is our Li family's future son-in-law. Now that Su's father and son are seriously injured and unconscious, we can't take care of him. Go get someone to make a fine coffin and begin funeral preparations. Once Su's father and son wake up, let them see Su Yang one last time, and then we can bury him. Li Shunfeng sighed and said sorrowfully. Yes, Li Kewu's eyes were complex. He glanced reluctantly at Su Yang lying on the ground, equally heartbroken. Then he went to make the coffin. Wait, who said Su Yang had to die? I can save him. At this moment, Hua Shimeo, who had been silent until then, suddenly spoke, his eyes brimming with confidence, and he pulled a brown pill from his pocket. Chapter 232 Su Yang is in a coma. Time flies, and the years pass by like a shuttle. 3 days have passed unknowingly. During these 3 days, Su Yang has been lying in bed, and until now there is no sign of waking up. 3 days ago, he was seriously injured by Duan Sihei, and performed the secret technique of blood sacrifice, exhausted all his spiritual energy, and finally killed Duan Sihei with a key to the East Palace. Although he successfully eliminated his opponent, Su Yang was also seriously injured and was dying. He fell into a coma and was only one step away from death. But at the critical moment, Hua Shimeo took out the ancient elixir that he had treasured for many years and gave it to Su Yang to eat. This ancient elixir was what Nalan Mings, the third son of the Nalan family, wanted to get before. In order to obtain the ancient elixir, Nalan Mings did not hesitate to take advantage of Hua Qingdai's affection for him and wanted Hua Qingdai to steal the elixir, but in the end, he was stopped by Su Yang and Li Fixuan. At that time, Su Yang asked about the ancient elixir, and Hua Shimeo clearly stated that he could give it to Su Yang. However, Su Yang believed that the ancient warrior's elixirs were too inferior and useless. He believed that any elixir he could refine could surpass the one Hua Shimeo cherished so dearly. Therefore, Su Yang refused Hua Shimeo's offer and never accepted the ancient elixir. Little did Su Yang know that it was this ancient elixir that would save his life. 3 days ago, Su Yang's vital energy and blood were depleted, and his internal organs were damaged. Even Zhang Zuier, upon seeing Su Yang's condition, had declared him dead and left Jiangbei in grief. But after taking Hua Shimeo's ancient elixir, Su Yang miraculously survived and is gradually recovering. Now, at the Su family manor, in his room, Su Yang lay motionless on his bed, his face pale and his eyes half closed. Li Fixun sat beside him, holding Su Yang's hand tightly, her beautiful face slightly haggard. For the past 3 days, she had been by Su Yang's side, never leaving his side, caring for him with unwavering care. Su Yang, you will be fine, absolutely fine, Li Fixun murmured to herself, her beautiful eyes filled with determination. The Su family father and son were also in the room, and next to them stood an old man, none other than Hua Shimiao. It is worth mentioning that the Su family father and son were tortured by Shi Zhuan that night, and all their bones were broken. Although no vital injuries were sustained, from now on, they will never be able to stand up again. Even with Hua Shimiao's treatment, there is no way to save them. Currently, they can't even sit in a wheelchair and can only lie on a stretcher, carried by 2 Su family servants. But they were concerned about Su Yang's safety, so they came to visit Su Yang together despite the pain. Divine Dr. Hu. At this time, Su Qianqin was breathing weakly and lying on a stretcher. He couldn't help but ask, how is Su Yang's injury? Is your ancient elixir useful, Grandpa Su? Don't worry, his injury has stabilized, the dry qi and blood are recovering, and the damaged internal organs have almost recovered. Hua Shimiao stroked his beard and smiled lightly. You don't have to worry. It's only a matter of time for Mr. Su to wake up, but I can't be sure of the specific time. Maybe he will wake up the next moment, or maybe it will take another month or 2. Oh, so. Su Qianqin breathed a sigh of relief when he heard it, and rarely smiled. Now that the magic weapon and I are disabled, Su Yang is the only hope of the Su family, and we must not lose. Divine Dr. Hu, thank you for your hard work. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid Su Yang would have died 3 days ago. You're too polite, old man. Mr. Su and I, Hua Shimiao looked at Su Yang lying on the bed, and a hint of respect flashed in his eyes. This is his own master. Even if he has to try his best, he must save his master. However, these words cannot be told to the father and son of the Su family. Hua Shimiao smiled, and then continued, Mr. Su and I have a great fate. It is my duty to save him. Also, I just took out a pill. Mr. Su, the person you really want to thank is Miss Fixun, Hua Shimiao continued. During these 3 days, Miss Fixun has been guarding Mr. Su every moment, wiping his body and changing the dressings. She is busy and hard-working. Ordinary girls can never do it, Hua Shimiao said with a smile. Feijuan, Su Qianqin's gaze fell on Li Fixun, and he said gratefully, Child, thank you for your dedication to Su Yang. Grandpa Su, what are you talking about? I am Su Yang's fiancé, and he is my husband. I am just doing what a wife should do in advance. Li Fixun smiled, her beautiful eyes never leaving Su Yang's body, and she said seriously, as long as Su Yang can wake up, no matter how much I do, it will be worth it. Good boy. Su Qianqin's eyes moistened slightly when he heard this. Feijuan, seeing this, Su Shenping next to him sighed and said, Hey, maybe Su Yang didn't tell you something. The Su family is sorry for you. The girl named Yao Yao 3 days ago is actually Su Yang's biological daughter. The girl's mother is your former best friend, Zhang Zuir. Feijuan, you may be very angry when you hear this news. After all, you are Su Yang's fiancé. Before you even got married, Su Yang gave birth to a child with another woman, but I have to tell you about this, Su Shenping continued. Now Su Yang is seriously injured and unconscious, and his life or death is uncertain. Feijuan, you can reconsider your engagement with Su Yang. If you don't want to marry Su Yang, our Su family will not force you. I will make it known now that I will unilaterally break the contract to preserve your reputation and that of the Li family. Uncle Su, Li Fixun said emotionally, Su Yang told me about Yao Yao a long time ago. I know she is Su Yang's daughter, however, you underestimate me too much? Am I the kind of petty and narrow-minded woman? I'm not angry at all. On the contrary, I'm very happy. Because I love Yao Yao, I really like Yao Yao. At the end, Li Fixun suddenly stood up and said through gritted teeth, also, I don't agree to cancel the engagement. I will never be separated from Su Yang in this life, due to the excessive movement of standing up, coupled with Li Fixun's excessive work and irregular diet in the past few days, her blood sugar level was low. Her body swayed and she almost fell. Hua Shimiao hurried forward, supported Li Fixun, and said with concern, Miss Fixun, you should go to rest. I'll be here with Master Su. Fixun. Su Shenping looked at Li Fixun, his face full of shame and said, Uncle Su was wrong. Uncle Su said the wrong thing. I apologize to you. However, Dr. Hu is right. You have been working hard for 3 days. Your health is important. Go and rest. I don't want to. I'm not going anywhere until Su Yang wakes up, Li Fixun said stubbornly. Child, be obedient and rest first. If your health deteriorates, who'll take care of Su Yang? Su Qianqian advised. Alright, hearing this, Li Fixun gave up, glanced at Su Yang, silently prayed for him, and then left the room. King Day, take good care of Miss Fixun, Hua Shimeo said calmly. Okay, Grandpa. Hua King Day was waiting outside the room. Seeing Li Fixun emerge, she stepped forward to support her, and the two left together. Grandpa, Master Su, you should also recuperate, Hua Shimeo then said. As for your injuries, nothing is absolute. I will find a way to heal you. In that case, I'll trouble you. Dr. Hu. The Su father and son thanked him, then were carried out of the room by the Su family's servants. Now, only Hua Shimeo and the unconscious Su Yang were left in the room. Master, you must wake up as soon as possible. There are many things you need to attend to. Hua Shimeo looked at Su Yang, a hint of anxiety in his eyes. Just then, Su Yang, who had been comatose for 3 days, suddenly began to move his fingers. P.S. Li Fixun is my ideal partner. Don't criticize her, criticize me instead. I wrote her this way. Also, how could Su Yang die? I saw the comments in the previous chapter, and the readers were ready to eat. I was completely bewildered. How could you say that about the protagonist? He's so powerful. Brother Xuantian was just injured. How could? I can have 2 bottles of beer. Can I sit at the women's table? Chapter 233 Awakening. Pain. Su Yang regained consciousness. His first reaction was pain all over his body. However, he was the Xuantian Immortal Emperor after all, and with 100,000 years of cultivation, he had experienced much pain. Hua Shimeo. At this moment, Su Yang opened his eyes, saw Hua Shimeo beside him, and slowly spoke. Master. Master. Hua Shimeo was instantly overjoyed, his aged face alight with excitement. He hurried forward and excitedly said, Master, you're finally awake. Yes, Su Yang said weakly, help me sit up. Yes, Hua Shimeo responded respectfully, then carefully helped Su Yang to his feet. Then, Su Yang sat cross-legged on the bed, his face extremely pale, his breathing extremely weak. He muttered, Fei Zhuan. He had been conscious before, but it was so faint that he couldn't even open his eyes. However, Su Yang heard the conversation between Li Fixun and the Su family father and son clearly, and was deeply moved. In this life, it is a great fortune to meet a girl who will never leave you. Su Yang secretly vowed that from now on, he would treat Li Fixun with 100% sincerity and never let her suffer any grievance. Then, Su Yang's eyes fell on Hua Shimeo and said lightly, Hua Shimeo, how long have I been unconscious, Master? It has been 3 days, Hua Shimeo replied respectfully. Oh? 3 days, Su Yang frowned, then asked, has there been any news circulating outside in the past 3 days? No, Hua Shimeo shook his head, turned around and seemed to want to say something, but hesitated. Su Yang naturally saw it, and said lightly, just say it. Yes, Hua Shimeo responded with a fist salute, then asked, Master, I heard from Grandpa Su that 3 nights ago, the leader of the Shadowless sect, Duan Sihei, brought a young man in the late Earth sect realm to the Su family manor, wanting to destroy the Su family. At the critical moment, Su Xuantian stepped forward and instantly killed the young man in the late Earth sect. This action angered Duan Sihei, and as a result, Su Xuantian was seriously injured by Duan Sihei. Then, Grandpa Su and others were knocked unconscious by a huge force. When Patriarch Li and I received the news and rushed to the Su family manor, Duan Sihei, the leader of the Shadowless sect, had already been killed. Hua Shimeo looked at Su Yang, and then said, Master, I know you are Su Xuantian. What happened that night, and who killed Duan Sihei? It was me. Su Yang did not hide anything and told the truth. What? It's you? Hua Shimeo muttered, stunned. Duan Sihei is the leader of the Shadowless sect. Rumor has it he's already reached the celestial realm. How could you possibly be his match? And it's not just Duan Sihei. The young warrior Duan Sihei brought with him is also at an extremely high level. According to Old Master Su, he's at the late earthly realm. Master, aren't you a half-step earthly realm? How could you kill him in seconds? Hua Shimeo pressed, unable to conceal his curiosity. That was before. Now, my strength can crush a late earthly realm warrior. Even a peak earthly realm warrior would be no match for me, Su Yang chuckled softly. I killed several of the shadowless sex elders. Only the great elder surrendered to me, willing to be my servant, so I spared his life. This, Huashimeo was completely stunned, his mouth hanging open in astonishment, at a loss for words. He knew full well that his master had initially been a mere grandmaster. Later, Huashimeo heard that his master had killed Nalanzu, and only then did he realize that his master had not just entered the grandmaster realm. Later, Huashimeo learned that his master had wiped out a half-step earth sect master in the Nine Gates black market, and only then did he understand that his master was actually a half-step earth sect master. At that time, he concluded that a half-step earth sect master was his master's true strength. Because of the Nine Gates black market incident, Huashimeo asked someone to find out that his master had struggled to kill Jeping, who was at the half-step earth sect realm, and in the end he even used ancient talismans. But now, Huashimeo suddenly learned that his master's strength was comparable to that of a peak earth sect master, and the excitement in his heart was beyond words. Shocking. So shocking. In his 20s, at the peak of the earth sect, such a terrifying talent was simply horrifying, and no one would believe it if it were spread out. However, Duan Sihei was already a powerful heaven sect master, and his master was at the peak of the earth sect, so how could he kill Duan Sihei? Seeing Huashimeo's confusion, Su Yang said calmly, "They've just exhausted their trump cards. A Xianzhuang expert is nothing special, master is invincible." Huashimeo was deeply shocked and couldn't help but kneel on the ground, flattering him devoutly. "Alright, get up," Su Yang gestured, then said calmly, "I have a question for you." "Yes." Huashimeo stood up, bent down, and said cautiously, "Master, please." "Yes." Su Yang nodded slightly, then said, "When you arrived at the Su family manor, did you see the little girl on the ground?" "Master, you mean your daughter, Su Yaoyao?" Huashimeo shook his head and said, "No, Miss Yaoyao had already disappeared when Patriarch Li and I arrived." Hearing this, Su Yang frowned slightly. Before he fell unconscious, he had examined Su Yaoyao's injuries. Although Su Yaoyao's injuries were serious, her condition was unusual and not life-threatening. So, where would Su Yaoyao go? Cough. Huashimeo, Su Yang was so anxious that his injury was affected, and then he asked, "How did you and Grandpa Li know that there was something wrong in the Su family manor?" "Who notified you?" "It was a woman wearing a butterfly mask. She only left a word and left." Huashimeo was talking, and suddenly seemed to think of something, and immediately added, "Master, the woman seemed to be carrying a little girl on her back at the time. Because it was dark, and she came and went in a hurry, I didn't see the little girl's appearance clearly. Could that little girl be Miss Yaoyao, a woman wearing a butterfly mask?" Su Yang fell into deep thought, and soon he had an impression of this woman. He murmured, "Jin Shangsu, the leader of the Nine Gates Alliance, wore a butterfly mask." Huashimeo, is that woman with a cold aura, unfathomable strength, long hair, tall figure, and wearing a white dress? "Yes, the image is exactly the same as Master described." Huashimeo continued, "Especially the strength of that woman, she is extremely terrifying. Yesterday, the head of the Li family was still discussing with me, saying that the woman was the strongest person he had ever seen. I couldn't detect Grandpa's strength before, but now I can. Grandpa is in the late stage of the Earth sect. And Grandpa Li Chunfeng is on par with the Grandpa in strength. If even he is afraid, it means that the woman is really strong." Su Yang murmured, "Such powerful strength, coupled with the same image, that woman must be Jin Shangsu. Since Jin Shangsu informed you of the news of the Su family manor, it means that she knows very well what happened in the manor. She was most likely to have come to the Su family manor that night 3 days ago. She was here. When you saw her, she was carrying a little girl on her back, and Yaoyao disappeared inexplicably." Finally, Su Yang came to the conclusion and said seriously, "It's her. It must be Jin Shangsu who took Yaoyao away." Chapter 234 Preparing to participate in the medical conference. Now, Su Yang's mind is full of doubts. Jin Shangsu doesn't know Yaoyao. Why did she take Yaoyao away? What is her purpose? Is it to threaten me and make me serve the Nine Gates Alliance? Su Yang was puzzled and simply stopped thinking about it. He planned to wait until his injury healed and find Jin Shangsu to ask clearly. For now, no matter what Jin Shangsu's purpose is, Yaoyao is safe. Now, he is seriously injured and needs to rest well, otherwise it will be troublesome if he is left with sequelae. With this thought in mind, Su Yang put everything aside and began to look inward at his body. Then, Su Yang was surprised to find that after performing the blood sacrifice secret technique, his blood and ki, which should have dried up, have been restored, and the power of his blood and ki is still increasing. Moreover, Su Yang also found that his internal organs were also healing rapidly. What's going on? Su Yang was delighted, and then his eyes fell on Hua Shimeo, and he said lightly, Hua Shimeo, did you heal my injuries? Reporting to Master, it's not a matter of healing. Your injuries were too serious and there was nothing I could do. Hua Shimeo showed a wry smile, and then added, however, I have an ancient elixir, which you also know. I wanted to give it to you, but you didn't want it. 3 days ago, I saw that you were dying and on the verge of death, so I took the initiative to make you eat the ancient elixir. Hua Shimeo continued with a smile, Master, how do you feel now? Very good, at this rate, I will be able to recover to my peak soon. Su Yang nodded, and then laughed at himself, I underestimated your ancient elixir. I thought that the so-called resurrection of the dead and the return of bones was just a gimmick, but I didn't expect it to really have this effect. Hua Shimeo, thank you so much for helping me this time. Thank you. If it weren't for you, I'd probably be a corpse, Su Yang said gratefully. Master, you're so kind. This is what I'm supposed to do. Hua Shimeo was flattered. Yes, Su Yang nodded gently, then said, I'm a bit weak right now and can't teach you the rest of the 9 revolutions rejuvenation needle. So, when I'm fully recovered, I'll teach you all of them. Hua Shimeo was overjoyed and hurriedly clasped his fists in thanks. Thank you, Master, you're welcome. Su Yang smiled and asked, how are my grandfather and father's injuries? Master, Mr. Su and the head of the Su family are not on danger of death, but their bones are shattered. I'm afraid. Hua Shimeo looked hesitant, wanting to say something but stopping himself. I understand, Su Yang nodded, as if understanding. He then said, Hua Shimeo, bring me a pen and paper. I'll write down a list of herbs, and you go help me collect them. Once we have them, I'm confident Grandpa and Father can be fully healed. What? Broken bones can be healed? Hua Shimeo was startled, but he didn't question Su Yang's words and left the room. When Hua Shimeo reappeared, he had a pen and paper in hand, which he respectfully handed to Su Yang. Su Yang took the paper and pen and scribbled down a list of over 30 herbs. This time, Dad and Grandpa's situation was different from the last time Dad was tortured by Jeping. That time, Jeping had only broken Su Shenbing's joints, the bones were fractured, not shattered. But this time, Su Shenbing and Su Qianqin's bones were completely shattered, and there was no way they could heal. The only solution was to regrow bones and replace the old ones. The prescription Su Yang had written was for the bone-growing pill, which could stimulate bone growth. If Su Yang could gather all the herbs, he could refine the bone-growing pill, and Dad and Grandpa would definitely be able to become normal people. Take it, and make sure to collect all the herbs as soon as possible. The longer you delay, the less effective it will be for Grandpa and Dad, Su Yang instructed. Yes, Hua Shimeo took the recipe in his hand, looked at it carefully, and then said with a wry smile, Master, among these 32 medicinal materials, although 31 of them are rare, they can be bought on the human black market. It just costs more money. I have saved a lot of money over the years, and I can buy it for you. However, the 1,000-year-old black tortoise shell is too precious. It may not be available on the human black market. Hua Shimeo asked, Master, can other medicinal materials be used to replace the 1,000-year-old black tortoise shell? No. Su Yang shook his head and said, other medicinal materials can be replaced, but the 1,000-year-old black tortoise shell cannot. This is the main medicine, and the others are just auxiliary medicines. Oh, so that's it. Hua Shimeo looked embarrassed, and then suddenly thought of something, and said, Master, I know where there is a 1,000-year-old black tortoise shell. Where? Su Yang asked. The Medicine King Hall. Hua Shimeo said seriously, the Medicine King Hall has a medicinal herb warehouse that contains every medicinal herb in the world. Besides, if the Medicine King Hall's herb warehouse doesn't have a 1,000-year-old black tortoise shell, as long as the hall master Zhang Ruomu asks, no matter how rare or precious, someone will offer it. Hua Shimeo couldn't help but say, it just so happens that the medical conference is being held in Jiangbei. Master, aren't you going to attend the medical conference and want to run for the position of elder? Perhaps we can start with the Medicine King Hall and definitely get the 1,000-year-old black tortoise shell. Medicine King Hall. Su Yang then remembered the medical conference and asked, Hua Shimeo, when is it held? Tomorrow evening, at Avian Villa, a farm in the northern suburbs. Hua Shimeo replied. Okay, I'll attend, Su Yang nodded gently, a smile playing on his lips. Now, Shi Zhuan, the prodigy of the Fengshan land, and Duan Sihe, the leader of the Shadowless sect, both died in Jiangbei. This matter certainly couldn't be concealed for much longer. It was certain to spread quickly, making the Su family a target of public criticism and a high risk of retaliation. The only solution now was to seek a powerful backer, only then could the Su family be saved. The Medicine King Hall possessed this strength, and Su Yang had already planned to tie the hall to the Su family's chariot. Alright, Huashimio, you go down first. I need to recover from my injuries. No one is allowed to disturb me during this time. Everything will be discussed after I'm out, Su Yang instructed. Yes, Huashimio replied respectfully, then left Su Yang's room. Next, Su Yang sat cross-legged, his eyes slightly closed, and suddenly activated the 9-nether prison suppression technique, accelerating the absorption of the ancient elixir within his body. If nothing unexpected happened, his injuries would be fully healed by tomorrow evening at the latest. Furthermore, after this battle, combined with the remaining medicinal properties of the 5,000-year-old snow lotus, Su Yang was confident he could reach the 8th level of key training. By then, holding the key to the East Palace, Su Yang will be able to fight against the strong men of Xianzong. Chapter 235, Tight Clothes, Headband, Little Boy. For the next few days, Su Yang remained in his room, spiritual energy surging around him. After regaining some strength, he set up a barrier to block the spiritual energy fluctuations and avoid detection. Afterward, Su Yang constructed a spirit gathering array to accelerate the absorption of spiritual energy. At his current level, setting up a spirit gathering array was extremely fast, completing it in just a few minutes. Originally, Su Yang had about 100 energy stones on him, a gift from Dong Wenshen. 3 nights ago, Su Yang tricked Su Shanzhu and obtained over 1,000 more. Therefore, Su Yang no longer worried about running out of energy stones. Preliminary estimates suggested that even if he absorbed all of these energy stones, he might not be able to achieve foundation building, but reaching the 9th level of key training was a sure thing. However, despite Su Yang's eagerness to become stronger, he did not want to force his growth or prematurely exploit his potential, as this would greatly harm his future cultivation. His goal for this retreat was simple, to recover from his injuries and reach the 8th level of key training. At this moment, the Fengshan site, at the foot of Mount Tai, a middle-aged man in brocade robes stood with his hands behind his back, his expression grave. He was Shi Yunfei, the eldest son of the Taishan mountain master and Shi Zhuan's father. Shi Yunfei asked calmly, "Have you located Zuiner's whereabouts, master?" Young master Shi Zhuan was last seen in Jiangbei. "He hasn't been seen since," the servant beside him replied respectfully. Shi Yunfei frowned and asked, "What is Zuiner doing in Jiangbei?" Young master Shi Zhuan seems to have discovered a supreme treasure. He's been meeting frequently with Duan Sihe, the leader of the Shadowless sect, lately, and seems to be plotting to obtain it, the servant added. Young master Shi Zhuan contacted Duan Sihe because the Shadowless sect's great elder got there first. Young master Shi Zhuan asked Duan Sihe to help him obtain the supreme treasure without alerting the Shadowless sect's great elder, lest he go all out and destroy it. I see. Shi Yunfei nodded at first, then asked, "What is that supreme treasure?" "I don't know, but judging from young master Shi Zhuan's expression, it must be very valuable," the servant continued. "Master, there is no need to worry. The Shadowless sect's great elder Su Shanzhu is only at the peak of the Earth sect. Young master Shi Zhuan may not be his match, but Duan Sihe has already set foot in the Heaven sect. Dealing with Su Shanzhu will be easy." If young master Shi Zhuan hadn't valued the treasure so much and didn't want it to be damaged in the slightest, he would have joined forces with Duan Sihe to forcibly take it away. Yeah, Shi Yunfei's heart settled down when he heard this, and then he said, "Duan Sihe is my father's apprentice. He and I are considered brothers from the same sect." He is still reliable. However, there has been no news from Zuiner for 3 days. He doesn't answer the phone and there is no news at all. Shi Yunfei said, "Jin Kui, go to the Wuang sect and see what happened. If Zuiner still hasn't got the treasure, don't let him bother with it. Find a chance to kill the great elder. The 100 sects martial arts competition will begin soon, and he doesn't have much time to waste. In this 100 sects martial arts competition, there are monsters and geniuses who are almost as good as the heavenly sect between the mountains and seas and in the depths of the clouds. Our Fengshan land must send out a peak Zun. He must not lose, otherwise the Fengshan land will lose face." Shi Yunfei chuckled softly. "After my persuasion, My father has decided to grant Xuan'er a great opportunity. If Xuan'er can seize it, reaching the pinnacle of the Earth sect and easily even touching the threshold of the Heaven sect, yes, I will head to the Shadowless sect immediately to urge young Master Shi Zhuan to return. The servant Jin Kui responded respectfully. Yes, Shi Yanfei waved his hand and said, go ahead, as you command. Jin Kui cupped his fists, then turned and disappeared. 100 sex martial competition. Haha, Xuan'er, you must perform well this time. After watching Jin Kui leave, Shi Yanfei smiled. If you can win the competition for the Fengshan land, you will surely win the favor of the Mountain Master. Then, our lineage will be proud and we won't have to rely on the second son anymore. The Taishan Master had 2 sons and a daughter. Shi Yanfei, the eldest, was logically the most qualified to inherit the Mountain Mastership. However, while his cultivation talent surpassed most, it was inferior to the Mountain Master's second son. Therefore, the Taishan Master favored the second son, seemingly intending to pass his throne to him. This made Shi Yanfei feel uneasy. He was the eldest son, and his son, Shi Zhuan, was the Taishan Master's eldest grandson. Why should the second son take over Taishan? However, the Taishan Master held absolute power in the Fengshan area. His words were authoritative, and no one dared to challenge the Master's decisions. The many elders and guardians of the Fengshan area naturally saw that the Mountain Master favored the second son's family, so they all tried to curry favor with him, neglecting the eldest son, Shi Yanfei. Shi Yanfei's position in the Fengshan area had always been awkward. But now, after much effort and earnest pleading, the Taishan Master finally decided to give Shi Zhuan a chance. Xuan'er, it's up to you. Don't let your father down. Shi Yanfei's face lit up with pride and anticipation when he mentioned Shi Zhuan. He had many sons, but Shi Zhuan was the most talented. Therefore, Shi Yanfei doted on Shi Zhuan, gifting him all his medicinal herbs and treasures. This allowed Shi Zhuan, at the age of 25, to reach the late stage of the Earth sect with such talent. He would be a top-tier young prodigy in the Fengshan land. Otherwise, the Taishan Mountain Master would not have decided to give Shi Zhuan the opportunity to transform. Second brother, when Xuan'er defeats numerous young masters for the Fengshan land and achieves supreme glory, I'll see if you dare act arrogantly in front of me. I heard there's an auction at Duabao Pavilion today. I wonder if there's anything suitable for Xuan'er? I'll go take a look. If there is, I'll buy it even if it means losing everything. Shi Yanfei sneered twice and then disappeared. Meanwhile, in southern Anhui, Jiufang Mountain. Surrounded by mountains, 9 peaks stand out, towering into the clouds and forming a majestic spectacle. This is the headquarters of the 9 Sects Alliance. Each peak represents a sect, supporting each other and supporting each other. Inside the highest peak, a cluster of buildings stood, their black and white hues, featuring dark tiles, whitewashed walls, and horse-head walls, typical of Huzhou architecture. At that moment, a 4-year-old girl was weeping, hiding by the courtyard's central patio. This girl was none other than Su Yaoyao. Though her injuries were severe, her health was exceptional, and after 3 days of recuperation, she had recovered. Su Yaoyao had just learned of Su Yang's death from Jin Shangsu, and her heart ached. Her tears were tearful, her appearance endearing. Just then, a little boy in a science suit approached. He was also 4 years old, about 1.2 meters tall, and looked particularly energetic in his outfit. He had handsome features, long braids, and a cyan headband that matched his clothes perfectly. The boy stood beside Su Yaoyao, a hint of disdain on his handsome face. He said calmly, "Sister, why are you crying? Did Mom tell you that Su Yang is an educated and a complete playboy? He wasn't worthy of being a father. He's dead, so he is." Chapter 236 Su Xing. Sister. This little boy actually called Su Yaoyao sister, Su Xing. At this time, Su Yaoyao raised her head and cried, "Shut up, don't say bad things about Daddy. Daddy is not a playboy, he is a super master." Haha, Su Yaoyao, this is not what I said, it was Mom who said it. The little boy's name is Su Xing. He crossed his arms and sneered, also, what a bullshit super master, he can't even protect his daughter. I heard from Mom that 3 days ago in Jiangbei, your seal was lifted once, and you were seriously injured. Su Xing curled his lips and said, "If I'm not mistaken, you lifted the seal to protect that waste Su Yang. What a rubbish, he's such a grown-up, but he still needs his daughter's protection." Su Yaoyao, how can such a person be your father? Su Xing said disdainfully. I advised you before not to go to Jiangbei, let alone see him, but you didn't listen. If Mom hadn't arrived in time this time, you would probably have died. Su, I don't want you to care, Su Yaoya gritted her teeth and said. Do you know how good Daddy is? He'll hold me, tell me stories, and make me breakfast. Have you ever experienced that, eh? Su's face flushed red, and he pouted. Tisk, what's so good about that? I don't care. Anyway, that loser Su Yang has no right to be my dad. You're loser, you're the loser. Su Yaoya was furious. She stood up, clenched her fists, and threatened fiercely. Su, if you dare say anything bad about Daddy again, I'll hit you. Su Yaoya, why are you so arrogant? If you hadn't inherited my great-grandmother's century-old skills, I wouldn't be afraid of you. Su's tone was firm, but it was obvious that he felt a little guilty. So what if I'm arrogant? Su Yaoya walked towards Su, grabbed him by the collar angrily, and was about to attack him. Don't. Su was immediately scared when he saw Su Yaoya was serious. His little face turned pale and he begged for mercy quickly. Sister, don't hit me. At worst, I won't say Su Yang is a waste in the future. That's better. Su Yaoya loosened Su's collar and said fiercely, don't call me sister, Su, we are twins, but I came out before you. You have to call me sister. Bullshit. Su was unhappy and gritted his teeth and said, obviously I came out first. You are the sister, and I am the brother. Who did you say farted? You, huh? Su Yaoya frowned and glared at Su fiercely. I was farting. Su was startled and quickly took a few steps back, saying in a pleading tone, sister, you can't hit me. I am your lovely brother. If you beat me and make me ugly, what should I do if I can't find a wife in the future? Puff. Su Yaoya couldn't help laughing when she heard this, and curled her lips and said, Su, how old are you, and you're thinking about finding a wife? Aren't you ashamed? Tisk, what's there to be ashamed of? It's natural for a man to find a wife. Su held his head high and said seriously, also, Su Yaoya, you don't understand my painstaking efforts at all. I'm not looking for a wife for myself, I'm for Mom. Mom is so tired taking care of the two of us. She has to wash clothes and cook for us every day. I feel distressed, Su said righteously. I've made up my mind. When I grow up, I'm going to find 10 or 8 wives and let them wash clothes, cook, sweep the floor, mop the floor, and wipe the table. In this way, Mom won't have to work so hard. Su Yaoya, please be nice to me. From now on, I'll have my wife wash your clothes and make you delicious food, Su said seriously. Tisk, I don't care, Su Yaoya pouted, then thought of Su Yang again. She was happy for a moment, then said again, if only Dad were here. As she spoke, Su Yaoya choked up, her eyes slightly moist, and tears welled up. Su Yaoya, you're such a woman, crying all the time. I wish my grandmother could pass on her 100-year skills to me. Su curled his lips in disdain when he saw Su Yaoya crying, but he didn't dare to say what he was thinking, for fear of being beaten. He murmured in a low voice, I really don't know what's so good about that Su Yang. Su, do you think Dad is still alive? Suddenly, Su Yaoya raised her head, her eyes red and choked. Why do I always feel that Dad is not dead? He must be dead. Mom wouldn't lie to us. Su Yaoya, don't think about him. Just pretend he doesn't exist. Su didn't care about Su Yang at all, but seeing Su Yaoya sad, he felt uncomfortable, so he changed the subject. Su Yaoya, tell me quickly, is it fun in the city? What have you been doing in Jiangbei these days? It's fun. Su Yaoya wiped her tears while recalling every moment she spent with Su Yang. There are so many delicious foods in the city, and there are also amusement parks. My dad took me to the amusement park, and I played on the carousel, the Ferris wheel, and the popular train. Su Yaoya kept talking, and tears welled up in her eyes. However, Su did not see Su Yaoya's tears, but was attracted by the city described by Su Yaoya. It turns out that the city is so good. Su's eyes turned, and he couldn't help but think about something. Not far away, under the eaves, Jin Shangsu, dressed in a white dress, took off her mask and looked at the two children by the patio, especially Su Yaoya. Her eyes were wet. Su Yang, consider the time. You've been buried by now, right? Don't worry. Although you're dead, you'll live forever in my heart. I'll remain your widow for the rest of my life, never marrying, Jin Shangsu said sorrowfully. Although I approached you with ulterior motives, I've done my duty by bearing you a son and a daughter. You'll have someone to carry on your legacy, indeed. Jin Shangsu had given birth to twins, a boy and a girl, both named Su Yaoyao and Su Xing after Su Yang. However, of the two children, only Su Yaoyao yearned for her father. She mentioned him to Jin Shangsu almost daily, craving to see him even for food and tea. Meanwhile, Su Xing, far from having a favorable impression of Su Yang, despised him, believing him to be a worthless person unworthy of being his father. Perhaps this was the difference between a son and a daughter. So, on this trip to Jiangbei, Jin Shangsu didn't bring Su Xing with her, only Su Yaoyao, hoping to fulfill her daughter's dream and let her feel a father's love. Su Yang, I'll build a cenotaph for you, and burn paper for you every holiday. I'll look forward to seeing you again in the next life. Jin Shangsu closed her eyes slightly, her heart filled with grief, and then walked away. She didn't go to comfort Su Yaoyao because she was also feeling bad. Seeing her daughter cry, she was afraid she would cry too. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237 Su Xing ran away from home. As the leader of the Nine Gates Alliance, Jin Shangsu's work schedule is hectic, with matters both large and small requiring her attention. However, she is deeply concerned about her two children, personally washing and cooking for them, no matter how busy she is. Jin Shangsu knows that Su Yaoyao and Su Xing lack the love of a father, and she doesn't want to deprive them of their mother's love. Today, having already washed and cooked, she left the courtyard and headed to the Nine Gates headquarters to handle official business. Of course, Su Yaoyao and Su Xing are too young to care for them, so Jin Shangsu usually arranges for two maids to accompany them. Before they knew it, it was already late at night. In the courtyard, Su Yaoyao, overcome with grief, ate a simple meal and fell asleep. Su Xing watched TV for a while, then lay down on the sofa and fell asleep. Seeing this, the two maids carried Su Xing back to the room, gently placing him on the bed, and then left. Jasmine, have you heard about the Alliance leader? It's a good thing Su Yang is dead. He's just a city scum, not worthy of being the Alliance leader. Hey, what do you know? I don't think the Alliance leader is happy. She must be in love with that Su Yang. What's so good about Su Yang? I've never met him and don't know what he looks like, but he's definitely not as handsome as young Master Modeo. Young Master Modeo doesn't mind that the Alliance leader has a child and is pursuing her. It would be great if they could be together. Indeed, young Master Modeo is the most outstanding genius in the deep clouds and mist. It seems he will represent the deep clouds and mist in the 100 sex martial competition. He will definitely take first place. Such a young talent is worthy of our Alliance leader. Two maids, guarding the courtyard, were so engrossed in their gossip about Jin Shangsu that they didn't even notice a small figure flash past them. This figure was, of course, Su Xing. Just now, he was just pretending to sleep. Ever since Su Yaoyao mentioned the fun of the city, Su Xing had been tempted to go and have some fun. Hey, Jasmine, Baizhi, your husband is leaving the mountains. Don't worry, this time when I go to Jiangbei, I'll definitely find a few more wives, so you can have more sisters. Su Xing, carrying his pre-prepared bag, leaned against the horsehead wall, a playful smile on his face. Then, he leaped down and quickly disappeared into the night, leaving Jilfang Mountain in no time. Hey, Jiangbei, I'm here, beautiful ladies in the city, get ready to welcome your husbands. Hey, 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 Su Xing smiled excitedly, then pulled out a pack of bear biscuits, a thermos, and a bottle from his bag. Then, Su Xing expertly poured himself 200 milliliters of milk and drank from the bottle. After a few sips, he tore open the wrapper of the bear biscuits and ate a few. Milk and biscuits, this was Su Xing's favorite combination. He'd packed everything he needed for his departure, clearly planning it long in advance, not just on a whim. After finishing his meal, Su Xing glanced at his empty milk bottle and said seriously, since leaving wife Jasmine and wife Baizhi, no one's cleaned my bottles, no. When I get to the city, I'll definitely find a wife as soon as possible so she can clean my bottles for me. I'm a senior, I won't do that kind of cleaning. Su Xing casually put the milk bottle in his bag and trotted off, disappearing into the darkness. Though only 4 years old, Su Xing possessed a talent surpassing that of a demon. Raised in Jilfang Mountain, he'd consumed countless treasures, making him a master at such a young age. Furthermore, having stolen his great-grandfather's treasures, he wasn't afraid of even the most powerful masters, so it was only natural that he dared to travel to the city alone. Oh, I forgot to mention that Su Xing's great-grandfather, Jin Shangsu's grandfather, was the longtime leader of the Nine Gates Alliance, a formidable figure in the ancient martial arts world. It was he who single-handedly forged the Nine Gates Alliance, transforming it into a formidable force capable of rivaling the three most powerful sects. It's no exaggeration to say that even the master of Mount Tai, the ancestral temple of Fengshan, the elder Xianqi between the mountains and seas, and the old poisonous creature deep within the mists and clouds, would yield to the old leader with respect. The treasures of such a figure were naturally not to be underestimated. Normally, the old leader prized the treasure so highly that he would cuddle it while sleeping, denying even Jin Shangsu the chance to see it. However, the old leader doted on his great-grandson, Su Xing. Despite being Su Xing's great-grandfather, he felt uncomfortable insisting that Su Xing call him great-grandfather, believing this was the true form of family. Su Xing, a bright youngster, had long planned to run away from home and venture into the city. To cope with this impending situation, he stole the old leader's treasure. Big wife, little wife, he, all mine, Su Xing, burdened with his bag, ran furiously along, like a rabbit on the loose, incredibly excited. The next day, evening. The Su family manor, Su Yang's room. Click. With a crisp sound, Su Yang slowly opened his eyes, a faint smile playing on his lips. Finally, I've broken through to the 8th level of key refining. Su Yang stretched his muscles and chuckled softly. My injuries are healed, and the after effects of the blood sacrifice have been mitigated by Huashimiao's ancient elixir. Now, if I encounter the Xianzong again, I'm absolutely sure I can escape. If I perform a blood sacrifice, I can even counterattack and kill a Xianzong expert. Su Yang smiled and said, however, the price of the blood sacrifice is a bit high. Now I have an extra trump card. With this thought, Su Yang spread his palm, and the key to the East Palace appeared in his hand, radiating a magnificent divine power that shocked all around. This thing is so mysterious that even with my eyesight, I can't even tell its rank. Su Yang looked at the East Palace key and smiled, but it's truly powerful. If I channel all my spiritual energy into the East Palace key now, the unleashed force could easily slay a Xianzong. Su Yang continued, if I activate the blood sacrifice secret technique and then infuse it with spiritual energy, using both trump cards simultaneously, I'm afraid even a mid-stage Xianzong cultivator wouldn't be able to withstand the blow from the East Palace key. Su Yang now possessed immense self-protection capabilities, but this was far from enough. The young man in the Fengshan land was already a late-stage Earth Sect cultivator. Who knew how formidable the veterans there were? The only solution now was to improve his strength. I've been advancing too frequently lately, so I need to slow down. However, I have plenty of energy stones now, so I could train a few masters. At this thought, Su Yang suddenly remembered his grandfather. He had learned that night that his grandfather was a late-stage Earth Sect cultivator. If he used a little skill and consumed some of his energy stones, he could easily allow his grandfather to enter the Xianzong realm. However, Su Yang didn't want his grandfather to continue practicing ancient martial arts. He planned to have him cultivate immortality with him. First, the ancient martial arts system was relatively weak. Second, ancient martial artists had a limited lifespan. While true ki couldn't prolong lifespan, spiritual ki was different. Sooner or later, Su Yang would transform anyone close to him into cultivator, accompanying him in immortality. To transition from ancient martial arts to cultivation, one had to start from scratch. No matter what level one reached in ancient martial arts, they would ultimately become a key training cultivator. Given this, Su Yang didn't want to waste energy stones by helping his grandfather join the Xianzong sect now. He estimated that cultivating a Xianzong would require over 100 energy stones. Although Su Yang still had over 1,000 energy stones, he couldn't afford to waste them. He had to make the most of them. Grandpa wasn't suitable, and as for the servants Guo Yi, Liu Wei, Wang Sai, and Dong Wenxian, their realms were too low. After much deliberation, Su Yang finally settled on the best candidate, Su Shanju, the Grand Elder of the Wu Ying sect. Chapter 238 Li Fixun wants to see Zhang Zuir. Su Shanju's realm is at the peak of the Earth sect, just one step away from the Heaven sect. A few days ago, Su Yang had gone to great lengths to subdue him. Even without the key to the East Palace, Su Yang couldn't easily defeat him. Now, Su Yang wants to play it safe and avoid squandering his talent. Another breakthrough, to enhance Su Shanzhu's strength, seems like a good option. Su Yang and Su Shanzhu have signed a master-servant contract, and Su Shanzhu's loyalty is unquestionable. No matter how powerful Su Shanzhu becomes, he must be under Su Yang's control. Any rebellion will surely lead to his death. With this in mind, Su Yang pulled out his phone and called Dong Wensheng. Master, what have you been doing these past few days? 4 days ago, a massive key surge was heard from the Su family estate. Later, Patriarch Li Chunfeng and the legendary Dr. Hua Shimiao visited the Su family. What happened? Dong Wensheng asked anxiously as the call connected. Yes, Su Yang didn't hide anything. To further convince Dong Wensheng, he told the truth. 4 days ago, the shadowless sex leader, Duan Sihei, suddenly appeared at the Su family estate, intending to destroy the Su family sect. Sect leader, Dong Wensheng's face suddenly changed, his breathing quickened, and he spoke in a trembling voice. Master, it's rumored that the sect leader is a master of the Tian sect. Are you okay? What could possibly happen to me? Then I'm relieved. Where is the sect leader now? Is the rest of the Su family okay? Dong Wensheng breathed a sigh of relief and continued. Nothing serious. As for Duan Sihei, Su Yang smiled, then said calmly, how could I let him go? I killed him. What? Killed? Dong Wensheng, on the other end of the line, was stunned and shocked. Master, you killed the shadowless sex leader? Yes, Su Yang nodded. Dong Wensheng was dumbfounded, his heart pounding with shock. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. The leader of the Wu Ying sect, a powerful figure from the Xianzong, the founder of a sect, had once studied under a master in the Fengshan area. It was said that he had learned from the master of Mount Tai, and was a formidable figure in the ancient martial arts world. And now, the leader had died at the hands of his master, a mere 20-something. This was utterly appalling. Stop this, Dong Wensheng. Su Shanzhu is with you. Take him and meet me at the Juman Black Market. I'll be there soon. Today, I'm going to help him establish himself in the Xianzong, Su Yang said calmly. Yes, master, Dong Wensheng responded respectfully, not daring to hesitate at Su Yang's command. Yes, Su Yang nodded, hung up the phone, and walked out. He had chosen to meet Dong Wensheng and Su Shanzhu at the Juman Black Market for a purpose, to gather information from Liu Wei and Wang Sai. He had probably guessed that the person who took Yao Yao away was most likely Jin Shangsu, and perhaps Liu Wei and Wang Sai would know some gossip. After leaving the room, Su Yang went to the manor's living room and happened to run into Li Fixun. Su Yang, Li Fixun was overjoyed to see Su Yang and asked excitedly, why did you get out of bed? Are your injuries healed? Yes, Su Yang walked over and hugged Li Fixun tightly in his arms. He took a deep breath of the fragrance of Li Fixun's hair and said gently, wife, I'm fully recovered. Thank you for taking care of me these past few days. Although I was unconscious, I can feel everything you do. Wife, I love you. From now on, I will love you with my life, Su Yang promised seriously. Su Yang, Li Fixun was deeply moved, tears welling in her eyes. She choked out a sob. I'm so glad you woke up. I thought you'd never wake up again. I was so scared. For the past few hours, I've been so worried about you. I know, honey, I know everything. Su Yang held Li Fixun's head and hugged his wife tightly, wishing he could melt her into his body, forever and ever. Baby, I promise you, I'll take good care of myself and never worry you again. Tisk. Li Fixun was touched for a few seconds, then pushed Su Yang away. Wiping her tears, she pouted, who's your baby? You're so corny, aren't you ashamed? You are, my baby, Su Yang said with a cheeky smile, moving to kiss Li Fixun. No, I'm not. Don't kiss me. You've been sleeping for 4 days and haven't brushed your teeth. I hate you. Li Fixun was still talking when Su Yang made his move, kissing her red lips. At first, Li Fixun struggled, her lips making whimpering noises, but she soon submitted. They kissed for several minutes before breaking apart. Su Yang, feeling unsatisfied, gave his wife another smack on the cheek before finally letting go, content. All right, Su Yang, stop messing around. I have something serious to tell you. Li Fixun wiped the saliva from her face and said, Yao Yao's mother sent me a message. She said she took Yao Yao away and told me not to worry. Yao Yao's mother, isn't she Jiang Zuier? Su Yang, have you seen Jiang Zuier? When did she take Yao Yao away? How come I didn't know? Li Fixun's face was filled with confusion. Huh? Yao Yao was taken away by her mother? No. Yao Yao's mother was indeed Zhang Zuir. Liu Wei had used the power of the 9 gates to investigate, so it couldn't be wrong. And the person who took Yao Yao away 4 nights ago was wearing a butterfly mask. It must have been Jin Shangsu. Zhang Zuir? Jin Shangsu? Could there be some connection between these two? Su Yang frowned slightly, momentarily baffled. Su Yang, what are you thinking about? Li Fixun became even more curious and pressed on. Have you met Zhang Zuir? No. Su Yang came back to his senses, smiled and comforted. Wife, since Yao Yao's mother sent you a message, Yao Yao must be safe. We don't have to worry. Well, I'm not worried. Li Fixun nodded, and then said, I mainly want to see Zhang Zuir. It's been 5 years since we last saw each other. At the time, she felt that she had done something sorry for me, so she didn't say goodbye to me before leaving. We used to have such a good time, but suddenly we broke up. To be honest, I missed her a lot in the past 5 years. When we just broke up, I often dreamed of her, and dreamed of the good times when the 3 of us traveled and studied together. Li Fixun continued, now that I know she is Yao Yao's mother, I want to see her even more. I want to tell her that I don't hate her, and let her not blame herself. The 3 of us can still get along like before, and I don't mind these. Wife, although Su Yang already understood Li Fixun's character, he was still very moved when he heard his wife say this again. Chapter 239, Appointment in 1 week. Su Yang, you must find Zhang Zuir and arrange a meeting for me, Li Fixun said seriously. Okay. I'll go visit Grandpa and Dad first, then go to the Juman black market to inquire about Zhang Zuir. Su Yang ruffled his wife's cascading hair and chuckled softly. The Juman black market is spread all over the place. Finding Zhang Zuir shouldn't be difficult. Yeah, Li Fixun nodded happily, nestling into Su Yang's arms like a little bird. After a few moments of tenderness, Li Fixun said goodbye to Su Yang. She had been with Su Yang for the past few days and had just returned home to rest. Perhaps she was too tired. She woke up only an hour ago, ate a quick meal, and then came to see Su Yang again. Now, she wanted to go to the school to check it out. She still had to deal with the training class and felt responsible for the students. After Su Yang sent Li Fixun away, Guo Yi approached. He had seen Su Yang earlier, but he had seen him flirting with Li Fixun, so he tactfully avoided interrupting him. Young master, Guo Yi greeted respectfully. Yes, Su Yang nodded gently, then asked, I see you're fine. Are Xiao Ting and the others all right? No, the Su family's secret guards have almost recovered under the care of divine Dr. Hui, Guo Yi replied in order. Yes, where are my grandfather and father? Take me to them, Su Yang said calmly. Yes, Guo Yi agreed, then led the way. Soon, he led Su Yang to an underground entrance. Young master, the master and the head of the family are recuperating in the secret chamber. They are seriously injured and don't plan to be seen in the near future. You can go in alone, Guo Yi said. A hint of sadness crossed his face at the mention of Su Qianqin and Su Shenping's injuries. Okay, Su Yang nodded, then strode into the underground chamber. Inside the chamber, Su Qianqin and Su Shenping lay on their beds, unable even to sit up. Both wore grim expressions, and the atmosphere was heavy. Father, it's all my fault. If it weren't for me, the people from the Fengshan land wouldn't have come to our door. At this moment, Su Shenping said self-reproachfully. It has nothing to do with you. This is the Su family's fate. Su Qianqin shook his head and said with a smile, our Su family has been passed down for thousands of years and witnessed the ups and downs of history. Everything is predetermined. How could a minor sect leader at the Xianzong realm destroy our Su family? Father, can you see how powerful Uncle Xuantian is? Su Shenping suddenly asked. I don't know. Su Qianqin shook his head again, then said seriously, from the beginning to the end, I couldn't fathom his realm. The energy within him was different from that of an ordinary person. It didn't seem to be Zhenki, or perhaps it wasn't ordinary Zhenki, and it couldn't be measured by common sense, but what is certain is that my dear brother Su Xuantian has an extraordinary background. He is our Su family's savior, Su Qianqin continued. If he hadn't taken action that night 4 days ago, our Su family would have been doomed. Father, are you saying that it was Su Xuantian who wiped out the shadowless sect's leader that day? Su Shenping asked in surprise. It's almost certain, Su Qianqin responded, although we were stunned by the overwhelming force and didn't see what happened specifically. But there was no one else at the manor that night. If not him, who else could it be? Su Qianqin asked. Su Shenping found it unbelievable and raised a doubt, but before we fell into coma, we saw with our own eyes that he was defeated by Duan Sihei and was seriously injured. How could he kill him back? Maybe he used some kind of trump card. After all, my brother has an extraordinary background, Su Qianqin guessed, and then changed the subject, and said lightly, okay, let's not make fearless guesses. Can't we just ask directly when we meet next time? We should consider Su Yang more. I didn't expect that he would return to the Su family manor that night and be seriously injured by Duan Sihei. Not bad, he finally took some responsibility, Su Qianqin praised. Father, I think you think too much. Su Shenping heard this and said contemptuously, if I'm not mistaken, Su Yang just happened to go home. With his personality, his first reaction when something happens is to run away. He has no sense of responsibility. Fuck, Su Yang had been standing outside for half a minute. He couldn't help but walk into the secret room after hearing this. He said with a dark face, Dad, am I so unbearable in your heart? Am I still your son? Why are you so negative towards me? Su Yang, you heard it, so you heard it. I didn't mean to avoid you. I'm not wrong. You, a waste, only know how to eat, drink and have fun. If you had a little sense of responsibility, how could you go to the club every day? Well, wait, Su Shenping was talking when he suddenly realized something and said happily, Su Yang, you can get out of bed. Are your injuries healed? Yeah, Su Yang nodded, then half-jokingly said, Dad, I heard you've become a cripple and might be bedridden for the rest of your life. If you keep teasing me, I'll pull out your oxygen tube early. Even if the doctor says you can still be saved, I'll do it. Fuck you, you bastard. I raised you for nothing, Su Shenping sullenly said. Haha, okay, Dad, I was just kidding. Don't worry, Dr. Hu has found a cure for you and Grandpa. You'll be back on your feet soon, Su Yang smiled and said, cheer up, don't be so depressed. From the beginning, he was convinced that he could successfully refine the bone-growing pill and cure his father and grandfather. So, seeing his father and grandfather lying in bed without a trace of grief, Su Yang made a joke to dispel the sad atmosphere in the secret room. Really, Su Shenping was overjoyed at Su Yang's words. Su Qianqin was also excited and asked, Su Yang, are you serious? Yes, Su Yang smiled and said, Divine Doctor Hu has already gone to collect herbs. It's only a matter of time before you stand up. Haha, great. Su Qianqin and Su Shenping smiled at the confirmation, their mood noticeably improving. Dad, Grandpa, who was that person that night? Why did I see him trying to kill you when I got here? Su Yang suddenly asked. Su Qianqin and Su Shenping exchanged a glance and then chose to remain silent. After a pause of a few seconds, Su Qianqin asked, Su Yang, you will know about this sooner or later, but I don't know if you have the courage to listen. Yes, Su Yang said seriously, as a member of the Su family, I will live and die with the Su family. What's more, I am now an ancient martial artist, and I have made rapid progress. As he spoke, Su Yang released a trace of true energy, disguising himself as the peak of Huijin, and then continued, Grandpa, look, I have reached the peak of Huijin. It's really the peak of Huijin. Haha, good. Good, you are worthy of being my good grandson. If you don't practice, it's fine. Once you practice, the progress is amazing. Su Qianqin looked at Su Yang, overjoyed, and then made a decision. How about this? A week later will be your mother's Memorial Day. By then, I will let Shenping tell you everything. Father, Su Shenping heard this and glanced at Su Qianqin. Su Yang is right. He is a member of the Su family and is qualified to know about this matter. Su Qianqin said lightly, I have already made up my mind about this matter. You just need to do as I say. Yes, Su Shenping never dared to refute Su Qianqin's orders and nodded in agreement. Chapter 240 Jin Shangsu is actually Jiang Zuir? Su Qianqin nodded in satisfaction, then looked at Su Yang and asked, Su Yang, did you see who killed Wu Ying sect leader Duan Sihei that night? Who is Duan Sihei? Su Yang asked knowingly. He's the one who wants to destroy the Su family, Su Shenping replied. Oh, it was him, Su Yang suddenly realized, and then said, I didn't see with my own eyes who killed Duan Sihei. When I arrived at the Su family manor, you and Dad were unconscious, Fei Xuan and Yao Yao were also unconscious. I thought you were dead. I was so angry that I killed Duan Sihei immediately, but he was too strong. He knocked me away with one palm. It was Su Xuantian who saved me, Su Yang said, although I didn't see it with my own eyes. It must be Su Xuantian who killed that guy. Yeah, Su Qianqian nodded and said, okay, Su Yang, you have just recovered from your injuries, and your father and I also need to rest. You go back first, until Dr. Hua cures us. All the affairs of the Su family will be temporarily handed over to you. Xiaoting and Guoyi can be sent at will. Okay, Grandpa, leave the Su family to me, don't worry. Su Yang smiled lightly, then remembered something and asked, by the way, Grandpa, where's the body of Duan Sihei? Duan Sihei is a Xianzong strong man, with a rich blood and qi in his body. Such high-quality nutrients must not be wasted. Giving it to Shufeng to consume will surely help her make further progress. Corpse, Su Qianqian asked doubtfully, why are you asking this? That guy is so hateful. He actually smashed all your bones into pieces and wanted to kill you. I can't swallow this breath. Su Yang did not tell the truth, and said with gritted teeth, I want to drag him out and whip his corpse to vent my hatred. Su Yang, you have a child's mentality. Those who accomplish great things must remember not to have a child's mentality. Besides, you should forgive others when you can. He's already dead. What's the point of whipping the corpse? Su Shenping said earnestly, your grandfather will not tell you where the corpse is. You'd better give up this idea. Su Shenping was speaking when Su Qianqian interrupted him, gritting his teeth and said, the corpse has been handed over to Xiaoting for disposal. It should not be buried yet. You go find Xiaoting, grandson, beat him harder, and smash all the bones in his body. It's up to you. Okay, Grandpa, leave it to me, don't worry. I will make sure he dies without a complete corpse, and I guarantee that you will be satisfied, Su Yang said with a smile. Okay, Su Qianqian smiled with the excitement of having avenged his vengeance. Grandpa, Dad, I'm leaving first. Su Yang then said goodbye and left the underground chamber. Father, didn't you always teach me to show mercy when you can? It's just a corpse, why torture it? Forgive me. If that guy hadn't defeated me, how would Shijuan have had the chance to cripple me? Torture it, even if it's dead. Show mercy when you can? That's just talk. When it comes to enemies, revenge is the way to go. Su Qianqian scolded, you're too soft-hearted, kid. Su Yang is better, he's my favorite. Su Shenping, after leaving the underground chamber, Su Yang met Xiaoting and went straight to the point. Soon, in a side room, he saw Duan Sihei's body. Next to him lay another body, Shijuan, who is in the late stage of the Earth Sect realm. Young master, these two men have energies surging through their bodies. They've been dead for 4 days, yet their bodies show no signs of decay. I'm preparing to send them to the crematorium. What are you doing with their bodies? Xiaoting asked curiously. Guo Yi, standing beside him, frowned and asked, Xiaoting, does the young master need to report to you about his actions? Of course not, then don't ask any more questions, Guo Yi said sternly, treating Su Yang with the utmost respect. Xiaoting was puzzled, his eyes filled with confusion. He remembered that Guo Yi had always had a bad impression of the young master. Like him, they both felt that the young master was a son of a powerful father and unworthy of being the head of the family. What was going on now? Why was Guo Yi so in awe of the young master? Su Yang didn't answer Xiaoting's question. His gaze fell on the bodies of Duan Sihei and Shijuan. With a wave of his hand, he stored the bodies in his storage ring. What? The bodies disappeared. Xiaoting was shocked by this scene. He rushed into the room and looked around, only to find that the bodies were indeed gone. What was going on? What the hell? Xiaoting's face was filled with astonishment. Guo Yi, tell Xiaoting about me and tell him to keep it secret. I have other things to do, so I'm leaving now. Su Yang smiled, then left the Su family manor and drove straight to the Nine Gates Black Market. Goodbye, young master. After Su Yang left, Guo Yi looked at Xiaoting and chuckled softly. Brother, you're going to be lucky. What do you mean, Guo Yi? Why am I getting more and more confused? Xiaoting frowned. Haha, Guo Yi smiled faintly, then spread his palms and condensed a bulky. Grandmaster, Guo Yi, you've reached the Grandmaster realm? Xiaoting was extremely shocked and said in disbelief, that's impossible. You're as powerful as me, and have always been at the peak of Huijin. How could you suddenly become a Grandmaster? With my own abilities, I certainly wouldn't be able to reach Grandmaster so quickly. All of this was granted to me by the young master. In fact, young master, Guo Yi no longer concealed anything and, following Su Yang's instructions, told Xiao Ting everything about Su Yang's other identity and his past. Xiao Ting was completely dumbfounded. Half an hour later, Su Yang arrived at the Juman black market. Instead of disguising himself as Su Xuantian, he strode in. On the way to the Juman black market, Su Yang calmly observed Shufan in the stored ring. Currently, Shufan was still asleep. She must have swallowed too much blood and essence at once and was unable to digest it quickly. Su Yang did not disturb Shufan. He wanted to see how much she could grow this time, so he withdrew his attention. Su Yang. When Su Yang arrived at the entrance of the Juman black market, Liu Wei and Wang Sui saw him and frowned. In the past, when meeting Liu Wei and Wang Sui, Su Yang would disguise himself as Su Xuantian. Therefore, the two did not know that Su Yang was Su Xuantian. At this moment, Liu Wei looked at Su Yang, and when he thought of what happened between Su Yang and the leader of the alliance, he became furious and said with a bad face, "Mr. Su, the Juman black market does not welcome you, please go back, haha." Su Yang smiled and said, "Liu Wei, look at who I am again." As he said that, Su Yang waved his hand and changed his appearance into Su Xuantian. Master. Seeing this, Liu Wei and Wang Sui knelt on one knee in a hurry, clasped their fists and said respectfully, "Subordinates greet the master, get up." Su Yang raised his hand again, restored his original appearance, and then asked, "Liu Wei, Su Yang didn't provoke you, you seem to be unhappy with Su Yang, what's the matter, master?" Liu Wei paused. He knew that he had some connection with the master. He couldn't lie in front of the master, so he said, "Master, this matter is complicated. It is related to Zhang Zuier. I don't want to say much, master." "Zhang Zuier?" Su Yang heard it and immediately said seriously, "I came to you because I wanted to ask Zhang Zuier, what's wrong with Zhang Zuier? You are unhappy with Su Yang, what does it have to do with Zhang Zuier? Could it be that you know Zhang Zuier, and because of love and hate, you hate Su Yang?" I dare not." Liu Wei was startled for a moment, just stood up, and knelt on the ground again. In this situation, he knew he'd be in big trouble if he didn't speak up, so he said, "Master, Zhang Zuier is the leader of our Nine Gates Alliance. I know that loser Su Yang." No, I misspoke. Su Yang isn't loser, and you aren't loser either," Liu Wei quickly corrected himself, adding, "But I thought Su Yang was loser, and our leader is incredibly talented." The thought of the leader giving birth to a daughter for Su Yang filled me with righteous indignation, and I felt it was unfair for the leader, so Master, I was wrong. Please punish me." At the end, Liu Wei kowtowed, his body trembling. After hearing this, Su Yang froze, his expression particularly striking. Jin Shangsu was actually Zhang Zuier? Chapter 241 He is my slave. Zhang Zuier. Su Yang had a strange feeling for this woman. Every time he thought of her, he felt particularly indebted. After all, he had made the mistake while drunk. Even if someone had deliberately arranged it, it was a fact that he slept with her. After learning that Yao Yao's mother was Zhang Zuier, Su Yang's guilt grew deeper and deeper. A woman who left her hometown, gave birth to Yao Yao alone, and took such good care of Yao Yao. Su Yang's heart ached every time he thought of this. If the crisis of the Su family had not been resolved, he would have sent people to look for Zhang Zuier long ago. Just as Li Fixun had instructed before, he must treat Zhang Zuier well. At this moment, Su Yang was shocked to learn that Jin Shangsu was Zhang Zuier. Because in his impression, Zhang Zuier was just a weak girl, gentle, timid, and in need of protection everywhere. When Zhang Zuier was bullied in the Zhang family, Su Yang often stepped forward to defend this poor little Zhang Zuier. Jin Shangsu, on the other hand, was the leader of the Nine Gates Alliance. She possessed unfathomable strength, a cold, icy presence, and an aura that seemed to distance her from others. These two completely different personalities, how could they be the same person? But Su Yang knew Liu Wei wasn't lying, or else he would have seen through it. In other words, Jin Shangsu was really Zhang Zuier. "Master, the leader forbade me to tell you about this earlier, and since you didn't ask, I didn't bother to say anything." At this, Liu Wei, respectfully and fearfully, said, "I didn't mean to hide this from you. Please understand, Master." "Yes," Su Yang, regaining his composure, said calmly, "Rise. This isn't your fault." "Thank you, Master." Relieved, Liu Wei trembled as he stood, hunched over, and stood aside. "Let me ask you, Zhang Zuier. Jin Shangsu, where is she now?" Su Yang inquired. Reporting to the master, Before Liu Wei could speak, Wang Song beside him said, "The leader returned to Jifang Mountain 4 days ago?" Jifang Mountain, yes, Wang Song continued. Jifang Mountain is the headquarters of the Nine Gates Alliance, located in southern Anhui. Yes, I see. Su Yang looked at Wang Song and continued, "Did Jin Shangsu take Su Yaoyao with her when she left?" "Yes, Miss Yaoyao was seriously injured at the time. After the leader made some arrangements for us, he left in a hurry," Wang Song replied. After receiving the confirmed answer, Su Yang breathed a sigh of relief. Jin Shangsu was Yang Zuir, Yaoyao's mother. She took Yaoyao away, so Yaoyao must be fine. "Master, actually the leader had no intention of staying in Jiangbei. She came to Jiangbei this time, firstly to win you over, and secondly because of Miss Yaoyao." Liu Wei was no longer panicked, and hurried to tell his master all the news he knew. "I heard that Miss Yaoyao often talks about her father and wants to see her father, so the leader brought her to see Su Yang. However, the leader probably doesn't know yet that Su Yang and Su Xuantian are both you, otherwise you would not leave Jiangbei so soon." Liu Wei continued, "As far as I know, the leader has not remarried. Although there are many suitors around her, she disdains them all. If I'm not mistaken, the leader still has you in her heart, but in her eyes, you are an ordinary person, so she doesn't want to contact you again." Liu Wei looked at Su Yang and suggested, "Master, do you want to tell the leader that you are Su Yang? Maybe when the leader knows, he will come to Jiangbei again." When Su Yang heard this, his first reaction was to agree. He thought it was a good idea. But then he thought, the Su family's crisis hasn't been completely resolved. He had killed Shi Zhuan of the Fengshan land and Duan Sihei, leader of the Shadowless sect. The Fengshan land would soon be on the lookout and would undoubtedly send powerful warriors to Jiangbei. It wasn't the right time to drag Jiang Zuir into this. It was best to let her take good care of Yaoyao. While the Nine Gates Alliance was a formidable force, second only to the Fengshan land, the Mountain Sea region, and the depths of the mist, Jiang Zuir was its leader. However, from what he had learned, the Nine Gates Alliance wasn't monolithic, nor did the leader have the final say. Even if Jin Shangsu wanted to defend the Su family, the leaders of the Nine Gates wouldn't agree. After much deliberation, Su Yang decided not to burden Jin Shangsu. He decided to wait until the Su family crisis was resolved before seeking her out. With this thought in mind, Su Yang shook his head and said, "Don't tell her yet. The Su family is in trouble. Once I've dealt with it, I'll naturally go to Jifang Mountain to find her." "Understood." Liu Wei and Wang Song nodded and clasped their fists. "Yes." Su Yang nodded slightly, then asked, "I asked Dong Wensheng to bring people to the Juman black market before. Are they here?" "They're already here and are waiting for you on the second floor," Liu Wei responded respectfully, and then asked cautiously, "Master, I know Dong Wensheng, the head of the Dong family. Who is the old man next to him? His strength is too terrifying." Su Yang did not hide anything and said with a smile, "He is the great elder of the Shadowless sect, Su Shanju." Su Shanju. Liu Wei was shocked when he heard the name, and asked in confusion, "Master, isn't Su Shanju your enemy? A few days ago, you were plotting to steal his energy stone. How come now?" "Haha, he's no longer an enemy now." Su Yang smiled lightly. "He is my slave like you. He can only obey my orders, otherwise I can wipe him out with a thought." Slave. Su Shanju, who is at the peak of the Earth sect, is actually your slave." Liu Wei swallowed in shock, then felt even more inscrutable about his master. He exclaimed in awe, "Master, you are mighty. Master, you are mighty." Wang Sai quickly echoed. Su Yang smiled and strode into the Nine Gates black market. After taking a few steps, he turned back to Liu Wei and Wang Song and said calmly, "You two should come in too. I have time today to help you improve your strength." "Thank you, Master." Liu Wei and Wang Song were overjoyed. They clasped their fists and bowed, thanking him before following Su Yang's lead. A few minutes later, Su Yang led Liu Wei and Wang Song to the second floor and entered. Dong Wensheng and Su Shanzhu had been waiting in the room for a long time. Seeing Su Yang enter, the two men bowed and saluted respectfully, saying, "Greetings, Master." "Yes," Su Yang nodded, his gaze falling on Su Shanzhu. He smiled softly, saying, "Su Shanzhu, your ki has recovered quite quickly. In just 4 days, you've already returned to peak strength, thanks to Patriarch Dong, who spent a fortune buying ki replenishing herbs for me." Su Shanzhu didn't dare look up at Su Yang, saying cautiously, "Thanks to Master, too. He didn't hit me hard that night." I only suffered minor injuries. That day, after returning, Dong Wensheng revealed Su Yang's identity to Su Shanzhu. So, even if Su Yang hadn't disguised himself as Su Xuantian, Su Shanzhu would have recognized him. Now, Su Shanzhu admired not only Su Yang's strength but also his character. A man who had endured so many years in hiding, enduring ridicule and being called a dandy and unlearned, yet remained true to himself. This kind of mentality is so admirable. Coupled with his terrifying talent, he has such terrifying strength in his 20s. In the near future, he will become a great man with a bright future. Following such a master seems to be a good choice. Chapter 242. It depends on your luck. Su Yang naturally sensed Su Shanzhu's respect for him, and was deeply satisfied. He chuckled softly, "Follow me carefully, and you'll soon find that following me is an incredibly correct decision." "I understand." Su Shanzhu nodded respectfully, then seemed to think of something, a sudden hint of worry on his face. "Master, I'm the Grand Elder of the Shadowless Sect, and now I've suddenly joined you. I'm afraid the Sect Master won't let this go." Sect Master Duan Sihei, a master of the Xianzong, has unfathomable strength. If he learns of this, he'll definitely come to Jiangbei to trouble you. "You?" Su Shanzhu was still speaking when Su Yang smiled and said, "Duan Sihei, I've already killed him." "Dong Wenshen, didn't you tell Su Shanzhu about this?" Su Yang looked at Dong Wenshen. "Master, as soon as I received your call, I contacted the Grand Elder and rushed over. I didn't make it in time," Dong Wensheng said with a smile. "Oh," Su Yang nodded, then looked at Su Shanzhu and continued, "4 nights ago, I already killed Duan Sihei." "What?" Upon hearing this, Su Shanzhu's old face was instantly filled with shock. He said in disbelief, "Master, you defeated me that day, certainly relying on your own strength, but I can sense that your strength isn't much greater than mine, and the gap between the peaks of the heavenly sect and the earthly sect is enormous. How could you have wiped out Duan Sihei?" Coming to his senses, Su Shanzhu let out a wry smile, unconvinced. "Haha," Su Yang laughed at this, then suddenly unleashed a terrifying aura, instantly pressing towards Su Shanzhu. Buzz! The aura was so powerful that the furnishings in the room trembled. Wow, such a powerful aura! Su Shanzhu was startled. Under the aura, his body bucked uncontrollably, and he finally fell to his knees, panicking and saying, "I was wrong. I shouldn't have questioned you, Master. Please restrain your aura." Previously, when Su Yang was at the 7th level of key training, he was already capable of defeating Su Shanzhu, a peak Earth Sect cultivator. Now, having successfully reached the 8th level, his aura has more than doubled, allowing him to easily crush Su Shanzhu even against an early Heaven Sect cultivator. Su Yang subdued his prestige and chuckled softly. "Su Shanzhu, now you believe I have the ability to kill Duan Sihei, right?" "Yes, I do," Su Shanzhu replied nervously, relieved. Great Elder, Dong Wenshen, observing this, smiled and said, "Master not only killed Duan Sihei, but also the 2nd Elder, 3rd Elder, and 4th Elder of your Shadowless Sect. Now, the Shadowless Sect is a mere shell. It won't be long before this sect is replaced by another power. You have nothing to worry about. No one dares to trouble Master." Speaking of Master, Dong Wensheng's tone was filled with pride. "Alright, Su Shanzhu, stand up. Today I'm going to help you reach the Heaven Sect," Su Yang said with a smile, raising his hand. Tianzong, Su Shanzhu slowly stood up, a look of surprise on his face. Although he didn't want to question his master, this seemed too unrealistic. Although he had reached the pinnacle of the Dizong for many years, it didn't mean he could easily become a Tianzong master. What methods could his master use? Could it be that his master was trying to give him a sudden enlightenment, transferring his own Zhangqi to me? At this thought, Su Shanzhu immediately dismissed this speculation. A sudden enlightenment can indeed help one achieve a breakthrough. Even an ordinary person could become a master of ancient martial arts after experiencing a sudden enlightenment. However, a sudden enlightenment is extremely damaging to the person who performs it. Generally speaking, only the dying elders would transfer their skills to their juniors before their death. Typically, these elder masters were very old, relying entirely on Zhenqi to sustain them. After the transfer of skills, the Zhenqi in their bodies would dry up, and the elder master who passed on the skills would undoubtedly die. Even for masters in their 50s or 60s, transferring their skills to others would significantly shorten their lifespan. The revelation of enlightenment is not only harmful to the practitioner but also to the recipient. After receiving the skills from an elder, the recipient will remain at whatever realm they were able to reach at the time, unable to advance. Most importantly, the process of transmission consumes vital energy. When a master at the Xianzong realm passes on his skills, the recipient can only reach the middle or late stage of the Dizhen realm, or at best, the peak of the Dizhen realm, unable to inherit the Xianzong realm. Su Shanzhu was already old and at the limit of his realm. If someone offered to teach him the skills and enable him to become a Xianzong, he would surely accept. But how could the master, so young, transfer his skills to him? Even if the master was willing, it was likely that with his strength, he would not be able to achieve Xianzong status through the revelation of enlightenment. Therefore, Su Shanzhu rejected this speculation, filled with doubts and questions. Liu Wei, Wang Sai, Dong Wenxin, all three of you, come here, close the door, and stand in a row. At this moment, Su Yang spoke calmly. Next, I'll have you break through to the earthly sectors for which sub-realm you'll reach. It depends on your own luck. Yes, having tasted success, the three naturally trusted Su Yang. After respectfully accepting his orders, they followed his instructions. Then, Su Yang formed a seal with his hands and quickly transformed the spiritual energy within him into 3 streams of true qi suitable for ancient warriors. Each stream of true qi radiated a powerful aura. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The next moment, the 3 streams of true qi entered the bodies of Liu Wei, Wang Sai, and Dong Wenxin, respectively. The 3 men were startled, their expressions becoming solemn, a look of pain on their faces. The zhenki I gave you before wasn't much compared to your level. This time, I'm giving you a direct, powerful burst of zhenki, so you'll feel quite uncomfortable. Su Yang smiled gently and explained, but the pain is proportional to the reward. By absorbing this zhenki, you can at least leap several minor realms and reach Earth Sect. Don't worry, there's no danger. Start refining it now. I'll protect you. Thank you, Master. The 3 of them respectfully accepted, then sat cross-legged and hurriedly practiced their internal energy techniques. This is truly a revelation. No, it's not a revelation. Su Shanzhu, watching this scene nearby, was surprised. Su Yang frowned and asked, what revelation? Su Shanzhu didn't hold back, telling Su Yang everything about the revelation. Haha, my method is similar to the sudden enlightenment, and they have something in common. Su Yang smiled and said, people whose strength is improved by my method will never be able to make a breakthrough in this life by relying on themselves, but as long as they can help me solve problems, I will continue to help them break through. For example, the 3 of them are all working for me. They were originally just at the stage of transforming energy, but I have made them masters. Su Yang raised the corners of his mouth and continued, after today, they will set foot in the Earth Sect, and in the near future, they can even become the Heaven Sect. Hearing this, Su Shanzhu became excited and his breathing became rapid. Chapter 243 Gold Medal Fighter Su Shanzhu. But then he asked, Master, will this harm you? Will your ki be depleted? Will your lifespan be affected? As for lifespan? Of course not. Su Yang shook his head and continued, as for ki, I'm not using ki. Moreover, the energy I consume can be replenished. Unlike the ancient martial arts enlightenment, which outputs original ki, which cannot be replenished. Once someone receives enlightenment, their original ki is lost forever. Such a heaven-defying method. I've lived so long and never heard of it before. Su Shanzhu couldn't help but swallow, his gaze falling on Liu Wei and the other 2. At this moment, Liu Wei, Wang Sai, and Dong Wenxin were all aglow, surrounded by ki, and their aura gradually increased. Su Yang didn't observe them. Instead, he came to the bedside and began to set up a formation with energy stones. The ki required to advance to the Xianzong level was enormous. Su Yang could convert spiritual energy into ki, but at his current level, the amount he could easily convert was limited. If all the spiritual energy in the body is converted into true energy, it will take several hours, and then it will take several hours to replenish the spiritual energy by oneself. It is a waste of time. Instead of this, it is better to set up a formation and use the formation to convert the spiritual energy in the energy stone into true energy. Xuantian Immortal Realm does not have the ancient martial arts system, so this kind of transformation formation naturally does not exist. However, Su Yang was a formation master in his previous life, and his attainments in formation are definitely top-notch. Creating such a formation is not a difficult task. Next, Su Yang pinched his hands, closed his eyes slightly, and began to develop the transformation formation. After about half an hour, the formation took shape. Su Yang showed a satisfied smile at the corner of his mouth, and then took out 200 energy stones and put them all into the eye of the formation. 200 energy stones, converted into true energy, should be enough, Su Yang said with a smile. Su Shanju, standing nearby, didn't know what his master was up to, but seeing his master's smile, he knew he'd succeeded. He couldn't help but ask, "Master, can I truly become a heavenly sect?" "You'll know after you try," Su Yang smiled and said. "Now, sit on the bed and practice your internal energy techniques. Absorb my ki like crazy." Yes, Su Shanju was thrilled, but then calmed down and eagerly followed his master's instructions. Meanwhile, Su Yang's 4 servants were practicing in their room, while he stood guard nearby. The reason he strengthened his servants was to enhance the Su family's overall strength. Imagine a future where Earth sects were everywhere in the Su family, and heavenly sects were everywhere. What about the so-called Fengshan grounds? Then, the Su family would be the foremost ancient martial arts family. In the Fengshan grounds, nestled between the mountains and seas, deep within the clouds and mist, these forces wouldn't even be worthy of challenging the Su family. And just like that, an hour passed in the blink of an eye. Dong Wensheng was the first to finish this practice, followed by Liu Wei and Wang Sai. Of the 3, Dong Wensheng's talent was relatively low, so he barely made it to the Earth sect and didn't advance further. Liu Wei and Wang Sai, however, possessed slightly better talent and, leveraging this opportunity, successfully advanced to the late Earth sect, their strength now comparable to Su Qianqian's. Earth sect, truly Earth sect. Dong Wensheng was so excited he was at a loss for words. Once he recovered, he knelt respectfully on the ground, saying, "Thank you, Master, for your reward." "Thank you, Master, for your reward." Liu Wei and Wang Sai did the same, looking at Su Yang with eyes filled with awe. "Well, do your best. I'm not making any promises. You'll have the opportunity to reach the Heaven sect in the future." Su Yang nodded, then waved his hand, saying, "Now, you may proceed." "Yes." The 3 clasped their fists in agreement, then bowed and exited the room. Wang Sai, the last to leave, closed the door behind him. After Liu Wei and the other 2 left, Su Yang's gaze fell on Su Shanju. At this moment, Su Shanju's face was solemn as he rapidly absorbed this Henki transformed by the formation, on the verge of a breakthrough to the Xianzong realm. 200 energy stones are almost drained. I didn't expect it would take so many energy stones just to advance to the Xianzong realm. Su Yang frowned, pondering for a moment before muttering, "Since I've decided to cultivate him, I might as well go all out. Take out another 500 energy stones and see how far he can grow." With this thought in mind, Su Yang didn't hesitate, taking out another 500 energy stones and placing them into the center of the formation. Buzz! In an instant, the formation shone brightly, and the transformation speed more than doubled. Snap! Almost instantly, Su Shanju broke through to the Xianzong realm. The martial arts Xianzong, the mighty power. Xianzong, I have finally set foot in the Xianzong realm. Thank you, Master, for your grace of rebirth. I will never forget it. Su Shanju's eyes reddened with gratitude. Don't stop, keep absorbing, and see if I can advance to the late Xianzong realm, Su Yang said calmly. Okay. Upon hearing this, Su Shanju closed his eyes slightly and continued to absorb the energies transformed by the formation. After about another hour, the transformation formation lost its luster, and all 700 energy stones, totaling to 700, were reduced to dust. Meanwhile, Su Shanju successfully advanced to the late stage of the Xianzong realm, emanating a breathtaking aura. Even Su Yang, under this aura, could not help but step back several steps, nearly being injured. Currently, Su Yang could only deal with early-stage Xianzong cultivators. He could only use a blood sacrifice and the East Palace key to deal with mid-stage Xianzong cultivators. However, Su Shanju, having already reached the late stage of the Xianzong realm, was far beyond Su Yang's capabilities. Seeing Su Yang being repelled by his own shock, Su Shanju's face was filled with fear instead of pride. He quickly withdrew his imposing aura and hurriedly stepped down from the bed, kneeling on his knees. He said with self-reproach and respect, "This subordinate deserves death. I failed to control my breath. Master, please punish me." "Get up." Su Yang looked at Su Shanju and said calmly, "You just advanced, so this is not your fault. However, this will not happen again. If you had shown even the slightest disrespect to me just now, you would have become a corpse before you could kill me. Yes, thank you, master, for your forgiveness. Su Shanzhu slowly stood up, a layer of sweat on his forehead. He knew his master hadn't lied. No matter how powerful he was, his life and death depended solely on his master's whim. Su Yang nodded in satisfaction, then asked, Su Shanzhu, what's the level of a late Xianzong in such a large sect in the ancient martial arts world? Very strong. Su Shanzhu couldn't hide his joy, and smiled. Early Grandmaster is already qualified to establish a sect as far as I know. The strongest person in a medium-sized sect in the ancient martial arts world is a mid-level Xianzong, and the strongest person in a top-level sect is a late Xianzong. Master, with my strength, if I were to rule a large mountain, I could establish a top-level sect. Su Yang then asked, how many top-level sects are there in the ancient martial arts world, except for the 3 insurmountable behemoths of Fengshan, between the mountains and seas? And deep in the clouds and mist, there are no more than 10 top-level sects, Su Shanzhu replied. 10, so a late Xianzong is already considered a top-tier expert. Su Yang smiled, feeling a little more confident with Su Shanzhu's support. Just then, Hua Miao called Su Yang, informing him that the medical conference was about to begin and urging him to head to Evian Villa as soon as possible. Yes, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Meet me outside the villa, Su Yang agreed. After hanging up, he smiled softly and said, Su Shanzhu, come with me to Evian Villa. Yes, sir, Su Shanzhu replied respectfully. Then, Su Yang disguised himself as Su Xuantian and, accompanied by his top fighter, Su Shanzhu, headed straight for Evian Villa. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244, Kneel Down for Me. Now, Su Shanzhu has reached the late stage of the Xianzong realm. According to Su Shanzhu, this realm can control a first-class sect and is considered extremely powerful in the ancient martial arts world. With Su Shanzhu accompanying him, Su Yang felt confident on this trip to Evian Villa. Because they were in a hurry, the two did not drive, and they traveled through the darkness at an astonishing speed. About 10 minutes later, Su Yang and Su Shanzhu arrived at Evian Villa. At this moment, Evian Villa was heavily guarded, with several martial arts masters guarding the gate. Everyone entering and leaving was required to verify their identity. At this moment, Su Yang walked in front, and Su Shanzhu followed behind him, not daring to straighten his back, his expression full of respect, like a loyal servant. Stop! As the two men arrived at the gate of Evian Villa, they were stopped by guards. One of them, a black-clad elder in his 60s, stepped forward and said calmly, Evian Villa is booked tonight. Any outsiders, please return immediately. The old man in black was a guest official of the Medicine King Hall. He had received favors from the hall and was a non-staff member, but his strength had already reached the peak of the Grandmaster level. The hall had invited him to maintain order during the medical conference held at Evian Villa. Not only him, but also several Grandmaster-level experts nearby were all guests of the hall, returning a favor. This old man in black was the strongest. He could tell at a glance that Su Yang and Su Shanzhu lacked Xianqi fluctuations and were merely ordinary people. Tonight, only doctors from the Medicine King Hall were allowed to enter Evian Villa. All doctors there, no matter how poorly gifted, were ancient martial artists. Because of the abundance of medicinal materials, even the most inexperienced doctors would seek to become ancient martial artists. Clearly, the black-clad elder believed Su Yang and Su Shanzhu weren't Medicine King Hall healers, hence his intervention. Is it just a bunch of strangers? Su Yang smiled playfully upon hearing this, then said calmly, I'm here to attend the medical conference and don't want any trouble. Get out of the way, haha, youngster, is that how you talk to me? Upon hearing this, the black-clad elder's expression darkened. A powerful aura of pressure emanated from him, enveloping Su Yang. He sternly shouted, kneel. The several grandmasters present all looked on in amusement, not taking Su Yang seriously. However, something unexpected happened. Far from being affected by the black-clad elder's intimidation, Su Yang chuckled softly. Su Shanzhu, teach him a lesson and spare his life. Yes, master. Upon receiving Su Yang's command, Su Shanzhu stood still, unmoving, radiating a powerful aura. Buzz! Instantly, this powerful aura sent the air buzzing with oppression. In the blink of an eye, the black-clad elder was on his knees, blood pouring from his mouth and nose. He knelt on the ground, clutching his head, letting out a scream of agony, while desperately begging for mercy. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. Please have mercy." Because Su Yang had previously instructed that the black-clad elder's life be spared, Su Shanzhu withdrew his imposing aura. He remained motionless throughout, respectfully guarding Su Yang. Wow! A single wisp of power forced a peak grandmaster to his knees and beg for mercy. It was terrifying. Could this person be a powerful Earth sect master? The scene instantly caused an uproar. The surrounding grandmaster guards were all trembling with fear, their eyes filled with panic. "Quick, go inform Senior Tang." Yes, Senior Tang is a powerful foreign aide invited by the Medicine King Hall. His strength has reached the level of the Xianzong. He can definitely suppress this man. Someone spoke in panic. "No need, I'm already here." At this moment, an elderly man in a Shongshan suit flashed and appeared on the scene in an instant. His face was dry, his hair was gray, and he looked energetic in his Shongshan suit. Although he was old, he gave the impression of not being old or weak. "My name is Tang Bixi, the leader of the Lauren sect. The Medicine King Hall is holding a medical conference tonight, and I'm honored to be invited to preside over it." Tang Bixi, an elderly man in a Chinese tunic suit, fixed his gaze on Su Yang and said calmly, "I wonder who you are, and why you've trespassed upon Evian Villa." Undeterred, Su Yang met Tang Bixi's gaze and smiled softly. "As I said, I'm here to attend the medical conference and don't want to cause any trouble. Are you a registered medical practitioner at the Medicine King Hall?" Tang Bixi's gaze never left Su Yang. As the leader of a sect, he had seen countless people and naturally recognized that the man who had just defeated the black-clad old man was merely a subordinate of this young man. Therefore, although Tang Bixi was wary of Su Shanzhu, he refrained from speaking to him. At this moment, Su Yang shook his head and said, "No, I have nothing to do with the Medicine King Palace at the moment. I'm sorry, the Palace Master has ordered that only doctors from the Medicine King Palace can enter Evian Villa tonight." Tang Bixi didn't want to offend Su Yang, so he said politely, "You two, please go back. What will you do if I insist on going in?" Su Yang's expression turned cold and he raised his eyebrows. "I accept favors and help others dispel disasters. When I first set foot in the Xianzong, I was grateful for the medicine gifted by the Medicine King Hall. If you force your way in today, I'll have no choice but to be rude to you." Tang Bixi's gaze passed through Su Yang and fixed on Su Shanzhu. His expression was unkind. "Don't think that just because your subordinate defeated a grandmaster, he's unstoppable." "Really?" Su Yang chuckled playfully. "Su Shanzhu, he's so arrogant. Make him kneel." "Yes." Su Shanzhu obeyed without further ado or elaborate tactics. He continued to unleash a powerful aura. With a thud, the next moment, Tang Bixi dropped to his knees, his face filled with horror. This. Such a terrifying aura. Are you a late Xianzong cultivator?" Tang Bixi demanded in a trembling voice. "That's right," Su Shanzhu said coldly. "Now, can my master enter Evian Villa?" Yes, of course," Tang Bixi agreed without hesitation. "Haha, old man, don't worry. I told you, I'm only here to attend the medical conference, not to disrupt things." "Su Shanzhu, let's go." Su Yang smiled and then led Su Shanzhu into Evian Villa. After watching the two of them walk away, Tang Bixi felt a sense of relief. He hurriedly stood up, his expression solemn. What is the identity of this young man? A late-stage Xianzong expert, capable of founding a first-class sect, yet he willingly serves as his slave? It's unbelievable. Is he really coming to Evian Villa just to attend the medical conference, or does he have some other purpose? Thinking of this, Tang Bixi struggled for a moment before disappearing, leaving Evian Villa without a backward glance. He didn't want to get into trouble. What a powerful master and servant this is. Senior Tang has already fled. It seems we can't stay at Evian Villa for much longer. Yes, we've received a favor from the Medicine King Hall, but we won't give up our lives here. Then, several masters at the Grandmaster level dispersed, leaving no one behind. P.S. This is a special gift for Guji's Great God certification. There are 3 more chapters to come today. Also, I have almost 10 reminders already. I've accumulated 20 today and will add 1 more chapter. I'm a money grubber. Money gives me endless motivation. Chapter 245 Elder Zhao Keihan. These people had only come to offer a small favor thanks to the Medicine King Hall. But now, seeing how powerful Su Shanzhu was, They were naturally terrified and unwilling to stay and take the risk. At this moment, Su Yang and Su Shanzhou had already entered Evian Villa and were strolling leisurely. Evian Villa, covering an area of over 10 acres, was even larger than the Su family manor. It was filled with rockery, flowing water, and classical architecture, all of which were exquisitely decorated. It was said that Evian Villa was built hundreds of years ago and could be considered an ancient residence. It was renovated over a decade ago and is regularly maintained annually. This was Su Yang's first time at Evian Villa, and he was immediately captivated by its architectural style and scenery. "Master, you are finally here. The medical conference has begun." At this time, Hua Shimeo came forward, first greeted him respectfully, then turned and said anxiously, "Let's go in quickly. I have quietly written your name on the list of candidates, and when the time comes, you only need to reveal some of your strength to conquer those doctors and become an elder of the Medicine King Hall." "Yeah." Su Yang nodded lightly, and then followed Hua Shimeo forward and asked, "Hua Shimeo, I forgot to ask you, what realm is the strongest master in the Medicine King Hall?" "The strongest." Hua Shimeo paused, and then responded, "It should be the Hall Master. It is said that he has reached the late stage of Xianzong." "Master, although the late Xianzong is very strong, it is far from comparable to the foundation of the top sects. In the ancient martial arts world, there are more ancient martial artists with the strength of the late Xianzong than can be counted on both hands," Hua Shimeo went on to say. "Moreover, behemoths like the Fengshan land, between the mountains and seas, and deep in the clouds and mist, have more powerful ancient warriors. Today all the doctors of the Medicine King Hall are here." In the afternoon, the Hall Master met with all the doctors and vaguely revealed a signal. Hua Shimeo looked around and saw that there was no one around. Then he whispered, "In fact, our Medicine King Hall pays tribute to the three major forces, the Fengshan land, between the mountains and seas, and deep in the clouds and mist, every year for elixirs." However, the Hall Master said that in recent years, the appetites of the three major forces have grown. Even some first-class sects have jointly asked the Medicine King Hall for resources. Hua Shimeo smiled bitterly and said, "Although the Medicine King Hall controls most of the doctors in the world, it suffers from the lack of the most powerful masters, so it can only bow its head and cater to the major sects." "Master." Having said that, Hua Shimeo looked at Su Yang and couldn't help but say, "I mentioned to you before that the reason why the venue of this doctors' conference was set in Jiangbei was because of you. Palace Master Zhang Ruomu wants to take you in as his disciple and train you well. I hope that in the near future, you can grow up and break the current deadlock." Hua Shimeo continued, "So, as long as you reveal your identity, the Palace Master will definitely treat you with courtesy. You want the 1,000-year-old black tortoise shell, and you can get it easily." "Yeah." Su Yang nodded after hearing this and said, "I see. Let me see the situation first. I will reveal my identity when I find a chance." "That, Master." Hua Shimeo smiled and said, "You don't need to reveal yourself. You have already disguised yourself as Su Xuantian, and your photos have long been circulated throughout the Medicine King Palace. The Palace Master and most doctors can recognize you." "Oh, I see." Su Yang thought about it, then smiled frankly. "In that case, I won't hide it. Let them know if they know. Let's go and see how lively the medical conference is." "Yes," Hua Shimeo responded respectfully, and then his eyes fell on Su Shanzhou, and asked curiously, "Master, who is this?" "My servant," Su Yang responded casually. "A servant?" Hua Shimeo didn't dwell on it, simply figuring Su Shanzhou must be very powerful, otherwise his master wouldn't have allowed him to stay with him. And so, the three of them walked together toward the main hall of Evian Villa. At that moment, the main hall was vast, like a gymnasium, perhaps 1,000 square meters. It was packed with hundreds of healers. They ranged from men to women, young and old, dressed in diverse styles, some in ethnic minority attire. At the front of the hall sat a raised platform, upon which 9 imposing elders sat in formal attire. These 9 were the elders of the Medicine King Hall. Originally, the hall had 10 elders, but one had passed away due to old age, leaving only 9. This time, the Medicine King Hall was holding a meeting of healers to select the 10th elder. Near the platform stood a dozen healers, most of them over 60 years old. However, one young man, dressed in a suit and tie, wore glasses, looked impressive, and a confident smile graced his face. These individuals all came to the stage to compete for the position of elder. The Medicine King Hall boasts numerous physicians, and the hundreds present in the main hall are all of the hall's more or less prestigious practitioners. The hall boasts at least 8,000 officially registered physicians, if not 10,000. Yet, of these many, only 10 are eligible to become elders, demonstrating the lofty status of the elder. Becoming a Medicine King Hall physician grants unlimited access to its resources and even access to ancient texts. Most importantly, becoming an elder offers access to the hall's master, Zhang Ruomu. Becoming Zhang Ruomu's disciple might even allow one to view the complete treatise on febrile and miscellaneous diseases, a sacred text of Chinese medicine, left behind by the renowned medical saint Zhang Zhongjing. This is a truly remarkable text, and the opportunity to study it will undoubtedly significantly enhance one's medical skills. Consequently, numerous physicians eagerly pursue the position of elder. However, the position is determined by a vote among the physicians, with the elders and the hall master deciding the decision. Without considerable skill, the position of elder is naturally out of reach. The dozen or so people standing on the stage were the most influential among the more than 8,000 doctors. Especially the young man in a suit and tie. Despite his youth, his medical skills surpassed those of the older generation, making him a popular candidate for the position of elder. Everyone, at this time, an elder sitting on the stage slowly stood up and said with a gentle smile, "I am Zhao Keihan, one of the 10 elders of the Medicine King Hall. The hall master has been in poor health. He has been traveling for the past 2 days. And he held a meeting with everyone this afternoon. He's exhausted and is resting in his room. Tonight's medical conference will be presided over by me. I see everyone is here. The 17 doctors before us are the ones who are most likely to succeed the elder position after being voted on by 8,000 doctors," Zhao Keihan continued. "I'm sure everyone knows who they are and their medical skills. Now, it's time to vote for them and confirm the final selection." Zhao Keihan picked up a voting device on the table and smiled. "Nowadays, times have progressed, and we in the Medicine King Hall must keep pace with the times. We no longer need to write our names one by one to vote. Someone will give you this thing I have in my hand in a moment. This is a voting device. Swipe to see each candidate's photo and name," Zhao Keihan explained in detail, fearing that some doctors might not know how to use it. To vote for someone, click on the person's portrait and then click confirm. If you really don't know how to use it, you can ask the staff on site, Zhao Keihan said. "We at Tiaowang Temple adhere to the principles of fairness and openness and will never engage in fraud. Your votes are recorded backstage, and the entire voting process is filmed. If you have any questions about the upcoming voting results, you can contact us for verification." "Okay, staff, you can give them the voting machines now." Chapter 246 Let your palace master come to see me. As soon as Zhao Keihan finished speaking, dozens of uniformed staff members, pushing carts, began moving through the main hall, quickly distributing voting devices to each healer. "A word of warning," Zhao Keihan said, "each of you will only have 1 vote. Each of our 9 elders has 10 votes, and the hall master alone holds a veto. After all, the selection of an elder in the Medicine King Hall isn't solely based on medical skills, character is also important. Some healers possess exceptional skills but are known for their cruelty and bad behavior. Such individuals must be eliminated, and no matter how high their votes, they won't be able to become elders." Zhao Keihan chuckled softly. "The elders of the Medicine King Hall should all know this rule, so I won't elaborate. Okay, begin voting." After 1 minute, the system will automatically lock the votes. As Zhao Keihan finished speaking, hundreds of healers in the room picked up their voting devices and began voting. The 17 healers on the stage, looking nervously at the results, were eagerly anticipating the results. Although most of them were in their 60s and 70s, some even in their 80s and 90s, and possessed rich life experience, they were, after all, running for the position of elder of the Medicine King Hall, a symbol of honor and status, and they couldn't remain calm. These 17 are all top-notch physicians with exceptional skills. Who should I vote for? It's a headache. I think Sun Yixun is quite good. He's a descendant of the Medicine King Sun Samio, and is said to have mastered the legendary 1,000 gold recipes. His prescriptions are worth 1,000 gold. In recent years, Sun Yixun's reputation has soared, curing a wide range of difficult and complicated illnesses. He's a rising star. Give him a vote. That's right. Let's give the opportunity to the young. Apart from him, the 16 on the stage are all elderly. While their medical skills are not bad, their room for improvement is limited. When we elect an elder, do we want him to lead the Medicine King Hall to strength and glory, or do we want the young, energetic and worthy of investment? Hundreds of physicians discussed among themselves, and the elders on the stage also murmured. "Brother Zhao, who do you think will get the most votes?" an elder asked. "Sun Yixuan," Zhao Keihan chuckled softly. "He's the descendant of the Medicine King and has mastered the 1,000 gold formula, impressing many doctors. During the auditions, he received the most votes, even garnering over 3,000 votes, nearly half the votes. This election was just a formality." The palace master had already guessed the outcome, so he didn't show up in person. Zhao Keihan's gaze fell on him, and he said admiringly, "This young man is worthy of being an elder of the Medicine King Palace, on par with us. He has the ability." These words were recognized by all the elders present, and they all looked at Sun Yixuan with particular admiration. "When we vote later, I'll vote for Sun Yixuan, but I think our vote won't mean much, as he's bound to get the most votes, perhaps even significantly more than the second-place finisher," Zhao Keihan then said with a wry smile. "Even if all 9 of us voted for the second-place finisher, we probably wouldn't be able to surpass him." Upon hearing this, the elders present exchanged a smile, and the atmosphere was remarkably harmonious. The atmosphere within the Medicine King Hall was quite positive. There was no intrigue or deception between the upper echelons and the lower ranks. Everyone was committed to making the hall a better place. However, the internal distribution of benefits was naturally not fair. Huashimeo wasn't in Kyoto, and since he had no background and wasn't particularly skilled in medicine, he received some discrimination. This was normal. A minute passed quickly, and as Zhao Keihan had predicted, Sun Yixuan, the heir of the Medicine King, received the most votes, garnering over 500 votes, while the second-place finisher only had a little over 100. Without a doubt, Sun Yixuan's promotion to the new elder was a foregone conclusion. Okay, the voting results are in. Sun Yixuan, the heir of the Medicine King, received 508 votes, the highest total. Zhao Keihan then said with a smile. The second place is Miao Dr. Fu Wen, with 189 votes. The disparity is too great. There's no need for us 9 elders to vote. Zhao Keihan looked around at the crowd and continued, "Do you have any objections? If so, please raise them now. If not, on behalf of the hall master, I hereby announce Sun Yixuan's promotion to elder." The many doctors present had already recognized Sun Yixuan, so no one stood up to object. "Well, then, in that case, I declare that Sun Yixuan, the heir of the Medicine King, is promoted today." Wait a moment, Zhao Keihan hadn't finished speaking when a cold voice echoed from the main hall. Then, Su Yang strode over, followed closely by Hua Shimeo and Su Shamju. Hundreds of eyes fell on Su Yang. Su Xuantian, he is Su Xuantian. Yes, I've seen the photo. This guy is Su Xuantian indeed. In his early 20s, he can kill a half-step Earth Sect master. I've always heard that Su Xuantian is a young prodigy, and today I see that he is indeed extraordinary. Who is the person behind him? The one on the left. He looks familiar. Isn't that Hua Shimeo? Hua Shimeo, the famous doctor in Jianbei? This guy is just average. Why did he appear with Su Xuantian? A group of people talked a lot, and there was no hostility in their words. Instead, some doctors praised Su Xuantian. Su Xuantian, the palace master was right. He's really here. Seeing Su Xuantian appear, Zhao Keihan was instantly excited. He stood up in a hurry and said with a smile, "Mr. Su, you are so honored to be here. I'm sorry for not welcoming you, master." Hua Shimeo behind him introduced in a low voice, "This is the elder of the Medicine King Palace, Zhao Keihan, Divine Dr. Zhao?" "Yes," Su Yang nodded, then looked at Zhao Keihan and smiled softly. "Divine Dr. Zhao, you're too polite, Mr. Su. I heard that you have set foot in the Earth Sect. You are truly amazing," Zhao Keihan said with a smile. "The palace master has been talking about you these past few days and is very eager to meet you." "Really?" Su Yang smiled. "It is said that the palace master of the Medicine King Palace has superb medical skills and is the successor of the medical saint Zhang Hongjing. I have wanted to meet him for a long time." "Haha, that's easy," Zhao Keihan said with a smile. "The palace master is recuperating in the side hall. Mr. Su, please wait here for a moment. The medical conference will be over soon. I will take you to see the palace master later." "Take me to see him?" "Haha, that's not necessary." Upon hearing this, Su Yang raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a domineering sneer, and then said in an unquestionable tone, "There is an order of respect and hierarchy. Tell him to come to see me immediately." Chapter 247 Defeat with one move. Originally, Su Yang had intended to reveal a bit of his medical skills, first securing the position of elder, and then gradually testing the Medicine King Hall. If he could secure the position of elder, he would gain sufficient respect and the Medicine King Hall would defend the Su family, allowing him to keep Su Xuantian's identity secret. However, since the Medicine King Hall's members could recognize him, and since their strongest ancient warrior was only at the late Xianzhuang stage, Su Yang learned of this. He decided to make a high-profile move to shock the Medicine King Hall. Although he considered the 9-turn rejuvenation needle a mere tactic, Su Yang was confident he could shock all the doctors in the Medicine King Hall. Then, he could compete for the position of Hall Master. According to Hua Shimiao, the Hall Master of the Medicine King Hall is elected by all doctors, not passed down from generation to generation. However, due to the exceptional medical skills of the medical saint Zhang Zhongjing, his treatise on febrile diseases was passed down only to the Zhang family. Even if one joined the Zhang family, all they would have access to was an abridged version of the treatise. Therefore, the descendants of the Zhang family, generation after generation, have been unrivaled medical experts, naturally earning the recognition of all physicians. This is a vicious cycle, resulting in the Zhang family's considerable influence within the Medicine King Hall. Throughout history, only the descendants of Medicine King Sun Simiao have been able to compete with the Zhang family for the position of Hall Master. Of course, the competition between these two families is healthy, without any intrigue or manipulation, and the position of Hall Master generally rotates. The previous Hall Master of the Medicine King Hall was a descendant of Medicine King Sun Simiao, and the current Hall Master Zhang Ruomu is a descendant of Medical Saint Zhang Zhongjing. Zhang Ruomu's descendants have not been particularly outstanding in medical skills, while Sun Simiao's descendant Sun Yixuan possesses incredible medical talent. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, the next Hall Master should be Sun Yixuan, descendant of the Medicine King. However, Su Yang was precisely that unexpected event. With Su Shanja by his side, he didn't have to worry about being suppressed if he showed his prowess. Therefore, Su Yang took the initiative and arranged for Zhang Ruomu, Hall Master of the Medicine King Hall, to meet him. At this moment, the hundreds of doctors present were furious upon hearing Su Yang's words. What? This brat is so arrogant, he actually asked the Palace Master to come and see him, haha, teach him a lesson. He's really going to open a dyeing factory. How can he be worthy of the Palace Master's status, this Su Xuantian? I originally had a good impression of him, but I didn't expect him to be such a clueless guy. Beside him, Zhao Keihan's expression gradually darkened. He said with a stern face, Young Master Su, what do you mean by this? Literally, Su Yang said calmly, I repeat, ask Zhang Ruomu to come out and see me, how dare you? You can also call the Palace Master by his name, Zhao Keihan said sternly, Su Xuantian, I see that you are extremely talented, and the Palace Master is interested in winning you over, so I have treated you with great courtesy. But you are so arrogant, not taking the Palace Master seriously. Do you really think that the Medicine King Palace can be manipulated by anyone? Don't you think so? Su Yang met Zhao Keihan's gaze and smiled gently. As far as I know, the current situation of your Medicine King Palace is very cowardly. Not only do you have to pay tribute to the three major forces every year, but even the first-class sects will unite to put pressure on the Medicine King Palace and ask for resources. It is said that it is human nature to kick someone when he's down. Who doesn't want to step on a Medicine King Palace like this? Hua Shimiao? Zhao Keihan heard this and immediately looked at Hua Shimiao next to him and asked, Did you tell him all this, Elder Zhao? Feeling Zhao Keihan's anger, Hua Shimiao's face was full of panic, and he was about to explain. But at this time, Su Yang said, Divine Dr. Zhao, don't make things difficult for my disciple. These things are not secrets. You can find out by asking around. Disciple, Zhao Keihan frowned and said, Hua Shimiao is your disciple? Yes, Su Yang smiled and said, Divine Dr. Zhao, you don't have to be so hostile to me. I didn't come to the medical conference with the intention of causing trouble. Zhao Keihan sneered, his eyes fell on Su Yang, and said in a deep voice, Su Xuantian, you mentioned kicking someone when they are down. So, when you came here this time, are you also trying to step on the Medicine King Palace and ask for its cultivation resources? No, Su Yang shook his head, and turned seriously and said, I came here to help the Medicine King Palace get rid of the constraints of those forces. I want the Medicine King Palace to no longer pay tribute to any force. Haha, what a joke. Zhao Keihan laughed up to the sky, and then said coldly, Su Xuantian, who do you think you are? You're just an ancient warrior at the Earth sect level. Do you really think you're invincible? Although I've devoted myself to medical practice, spending most of my time studying the art, I'm already in the late Earth sect stage, Zhao Keihan said gravely. Let's not talk about others for now. How many moves do you think you can take from me? 1, Su Yang said calmly. Haha, you're quite self-aware, Zhao Keihan sneered, then sternly declared, Su Xuantian, we at the Medicine King Hall are delighted to have you here today at the medical conference, but you've disrespected the hall master and spoken so arrogantly. This is unforgivable. I apologize. As he finished speaking, Zhao Keihan's eyes darkened, and he immediately channeled his Zenki, swiftly striking Su Yang with his palm. The many doctors present smiled, clearly eager to see Su Yang's destruction. But what happened next shocked everyone. Just as Zhao Keihan's palm was about to make contact with Su Yang, his body suddenly vanished. In a split second, a living being vanished. When he reappeared, he was already behind Zhao Keihan. Bang! With a muffled thud, Su Yang's fist smashed into Zhao Keihan's chest. Zhao Keihan, at the late Earth sect level, was sent flying, landing heavily on the platform. Divine Dr. Zhao, you misunderstood me. When I say one move, I mean, Su Yang approached Zhao Keihan, smiling for the first half of his words. Then, his voice cooled, and he said calmly, it means, I only need one move to defeat you. Wow. This scene instantly caused an uproar, and everyone present was stunned and astonished. Elder Zhao was at the late Earth sect level. This realm was considered a formidable force among the older generation. Yet, Su Xuantian, only in his 20s, had defeated Elder Zhao with a single move. What a formidable strength. What a terrifying talent. I actually lost to Su Xuantian just like that. Just now, his body movements were so strange, Zhao Keihan's face was filled with horror, and at the same time, he was shocked beyond words. He looked at Su Xuantian blankly, his expression complicated for a moment. Haha, as expected of you, little friend Su. It seems that the rumors outside are untrue. Your talent is completely comparable to the geniuses of the three major forces. Not bad, ahem, not bad. At this moment, an old voice sounded in the main hall, and then, a white-bearded old man over 100 years old, supported by two medicine boys, slowly walked over. Peas, this is yesterday's 4th chapter, re-released. It's not that I don't keep my word, helpless. Chapter 248 I want you to give up the position of palace master. The old man had white hair and a white beard, a face that was aged and slightly pale. He was clearly of imposing stature, though hunched over by age, giving him the appearance of a small, elderly man. Though seemingly unremarkable, the aura he exuded was unfathomable. His eyes, in particular, though cloudy and withered, seemed to pierce the soul. Powerful. The moment the white-haired and white-bearded old man appeared, Su Yang's eyes jumped, and he immediately became wary. Greetings, Palace Master. At this moment, the hundreds of medical practitioners present, as well as the 9 Medicine King Hall elders, all exclaimed in unison, their eyes filled with awe. Indeed, this little old man with white hair and a white beard was the Palace Master of the Medicine King Hall, Zhang Ruomu, the descendant of the medical sage Zhang Zhongjing. Zhang Ruomu nodded. After glancing around, his gaze finally settled on Su Yang. He smiled politely. Young Master Su, I've long heard of your name. Meeting you today is truly astonishing. Master of the Medicine King Hall, Zhang Ruomu. Su Yang met Zhang Ruomu's gaze and smiled calmly. Haha, I've heard of your name many times. I won't waste any more time on this nonsense. I've come to Ravine Villa today for a reason. Su Yang smiled softly. Zhang Ruomu, I wonder if you can agree to this. Although Zhang Ruomu was over 100 years old and looked frail, Su Yang had, after all, cultivated for 100,000 years. To Su Yang, Zhang Ruomu was merely a junior. Therefore, there was no reverence for the elder in his tone. He spoke as if they were equals. Young Master Su, cough, I heard everything you said just now with Elder Zhao. Zhang Ruomu coughed, then laughed. Since Hua Shimao is your disciple, I'm sure you already know the purpose of holding the medical conference in Jiangbei. What he said is true. I do want to win you over, and I'm very eager. Young Master Su, you are as talented as a demon. You have reached the Earth Sect realm at such a young age, and today you defeated Elder Zhao, who is in the late Earth Sect, with a single move. Such talent is unparalleled in the world. Our Medicine King Hall is eager for talented people, and you are exactly what we need. Zhang Ruomu's face was kind, and he said seriously, what is it? Young Master Su, please tell me. If it does not go against the conscience of heaven and earth, I will not hesitate and agree to it directly. Su Yang took a step forward, smiled at first, and then said seriously, I want you to give up the position of Palace Master. From now on, I will be the Palace Master and take charge of the Medicine King Hall. Buzz! As soon as these words came out, the scene exploded. How dare you, Su Xuantian? You're only in your early 20s. What qualifications do you have to be the Palace Master? HMPH, you may be young, but you're quite bold. How can you boast in front of the Palace Master? Although our Medicine King Palace pays tribute to the three great powers, it's no pushover. Looking across the ancient martial arts world, no power dares to attack it. You want to be the Palace Master? Haha, wishful thinking. Numerous doctors were filled with righteous indignation, their eyes brimming with anger as they looked at Su Yang. The Medicine King Palace, the most unique entity in the ancient martial arts world. Although it pays tribute to the three great powers and even submits to a coalition of first-class sects. The doctor was right. No one, no force, dares to truly offend the Medicine King Palace. The Medicine King Palace's existence is vital to the ancient martial arts world, like a fish needs water. The Medicine King Palace is water. Even if those forces threaten the Medicine King Palace and demand cultivation resources, they can do nothing if the Medicine King Palace refuses. Because the ancient martial arts world cannot do without the Medicine King Palace. Without the Medicine King Hall, where would they obtain the resources for cultivation? Who would they turn to for healing when they were injured or sick? The world is vast, and there are countless healers. Even those who haven't joined the Medicine King Hall are countless. Every sect, even the smallest, has its healers. But truly skilled healers can only be found in the Medicine King Hall, there's no other option. After all, the Medicine King Hall has been established for centuries, and it has accumulated a vast wealth of texts and medical knowledge. Who wouldn't want to join the Medicine King Hall, read the texts, and improve their skills? The major sects are well aware that while oppressing the Medicine King Hall is acceptable, killing the goose that lays the golden eggs is unacceptable. The Medicine King Hall, wanting to avoid further trouble, prefers to avoid more trouble, so it repeatedly yields and pays tribute annually. While this tribute doesn't indicate weakness, it's a sign of the Medicine King Hall's strength. About 20 years ago, the Deputy Valley Master deep in the clouds and mist reached the pinnacle of the heavenly sect and possessed exceptional strength. Having reached his peak realm, he ordered numerous ki-boosting herbs from the Medicine King Hall. However, after reaching the pinnacle of the heavenly sect, he chose to default on the payment. 8 physicians, under Zhang Ruomu's orders, journeyed to the deep clouds to collect the debt, only to be annihilated by the Deputy Valley Master. All 8 physicians were brutally beheaded and mutilated. Upon learning of this, Zhang Ruomu was furious. He immediately announced the Deputy Valley Master's actions and issued a killing order against the Medicine King Hall. The Deputy Valley Master of the Deep Clouds dismissed the matter, believing the Medicine King Hall was merely a group of physicians, their strongest only at the late heavenly sect stage, far inferior to his own. He was confident he could single-handedly destroy the entire Medicine King Hall, so why would he fear a killing order? However, the Deputy Valley Master was soon stunned. The Master of Mount Tai, the Fengshan land, and the old man between the mountains and the sea had both come after him. Even the previous Valley Master, the Poisonous Man, who had been in seclusion in the deep clouds, had attacked him. In the end, the old poisonous creature cleaned up the mess, personally slaying the Deputy Valley Master and exposing his corpse to the sun for half a month as a warning to others. The major powers' message was clear: they could pressure the Medicine King Hall, but they must not resort to harsh measures. Any violation of this line would be unforgivable. The Medicine King Hall understood this close bond. The major powers could not do without the Medicine King Hall, and the Medicine King Hall, in turn, could not do without the major powers. Therefore, when powerful sects approached the hall with cultivation resources, the hall master usually refused. This was the only way to keep those powers in line and thus protect the Medicine King Hall. As long as they refrained from excessive behavior, the Medicine King Hall's continued existence would be the best outcome. Thus, the Medicine King Hall and the major powers of the ancient martial arts world enjoyed a special and peaceful coexistence. However, in recent years, the major powers' appetites had grown, prompting Zhang Ruomu, the hall master, to consider a change. If only the Medicine King Hall could produce a martial artist comparable to today's greatest masters, it would be free from the constraints of the major powers. Okay, quiet down, ahem, At this time, Zhang Ruomu slowly spoke, and the scene instantly quieted down. Then, Zhang Ruomu's eyes fell on Su Yang, and he stared at Su Yang with cloudy eyes, and said with a smile, "Mr. Su, the position of Palace Master is open to anyone as long as they have outstanding abilities. I can step down and let someone else take over, but the prerequisite is that I meet the right person. You want to be Palace Master? No problem, but, Mr. Su, you have to tell me, what can you bring to the Medicine King Palace?" Chapter 249 I am just Su Xuantian servant. What can you bring to the Medicine King Palace? Facing Zhang Ruomu's gaze, Su Yang remained unfazed. His lips curled slightly as he spoke methodically. If I became the Palace Master, I could lead the Medicine King Palace to new heights. Then, the Medicine King Palace won't need to pay tribute to any force. With the alliance of first-class sects, even in the Fengshan ceremonies, between the mountains and seas, or deep in the clouds and mist, these three major forces wouldn't dare to touch the Medicine King Palace. Even then, Su Yang sneered, these forces will become subordinates of the Medicine King Palace. I will make them live under the constant threat of the Medicine King Palace, day by day, month by month, year by year, the medicinal herbs and treasures needed by the Medicine King Palace. Just say the word, and the major forces will scramble to offer them, trying to curry favor with the Medicine King Palace. Su Yang emphasized. Zhang Ruomu, haha. The curry favor I'm talking about isn't the way you're getting along now. Currently, while the major forces will curry favor with the Medicine King Palace, it's mostly oppression, for the sake of future exploitation, and after I became the Palace Master, they're trying to curry favor with the Medicine King Hall because they don't want to be exploited by it, Su Yang declared, his domineering, overwhelming power. As long as I become the Palace Master, in time, the Medicine King Hall will stand at the pinnacle of ancient martial arts sects, defying the entire ancient martial arts world. Silence. After Su Yang finished speaking, a deathly silence fell, and every healer was moved. Breaking free from constraints and becoming a supreme being was the aspiration of all healers. Su Yang's words resonated deeply with him. Haha, before Zhang Ruomu could even speak, Zhao Keihan, standing beside him, sneered, Su Xuantian, you're so arrogant. Anyone can say such nice things, but they're simply unrealistic. You're just a young junior. No matter how strong you are, you'll never break through to the heavenly sect. How can you lead the Medicine King Hall to unparalleled glory? Zhao Keihan scoffed, never believing Su Yang's words. Young Master Su. At this time, Zhang Ruomu came back to his senses and smiled softly. Elder Zhao's words are a bit direct, but his general meaning is not wrong. Although my realm has not set foot in the ranks of the strongest, it is also in the late stage of Xianzong. It is no exaggeration to say that I can crush you with just a flick of my finger. How can you realize what you just said? Zhang Ruomu was relatively gentle from beginning to end. He smiled and said, however, you are as talented as a demon. If you can join the Medicine King Palace, I guarantee that you will have an inexhaustible supply of medicinal herbs and elixirs. In a few decades, you may really become the strongest, but, let's talk about it decades later. You are not qualified to be the Palace Master now. Zhang Ruomu shook his head and refused. Young Master Su, give up this idea for now. Haha, you don't agree? Su Yang's expression turned cold when he heard this, and he said in a deep voice, if I insist, what can you do? Zhang Ruomu sighed, then dropped to a smile. He said coldly, young Master Su, if you won't listen, then I'll have to force you to face reality. Let me face reality. You don't seem to have the strength yet. Su Yang's lips curled up as he said calmly, Su Shanju, it's your turn. Yes, Master, Su Shanju responded respectfully, then stepped out from behind Su Yang and suddenly unleashed his might. Buzz! In an instant, a terrifying surge of Zhangqi swept through the entire venue, causing the hundreds of healers in the main hall to stagger and fall, unable to stand. The 9 elders on the stage, having traversed the Earth sect, were able to maintain their balance, but it was still very difficult. This is so powerful. Who is he? Just the aura he exudes is so terrifying. He must have at least traversed the Heaven sect. This old man just called Su Xuantian Master, and he's just Su Xuantian servant. The crowd struggled to hold on, whispering. Xianzong, late stage. At this moment, Zhang Ruomu felt Su Shanju's realm, and a look of shock appeared on his face, which had always been calm. He couldn't help but ask, may I ask which famous mountain you are from and who is your master? The Grand Elder of Wu Ying sect, Su Shanju. Su Shanju responded in a flat tone, and then added, but this was my previous identity. Now, I am Su Xuantian's servant, and Su Xuantian is my master." When mentioning his master, Su Shanju's eyes were full of respect, and there was a strong sense of pride in his respect, as if being Su Xuantian's servant was something to be proud of. "What, slave?" Zhang Ruomu was extremely surprised and said in disbelief, "You are a late-stage Xianzong. How could you be willing to be a slave of Mr. Su? Also, as far as I know, the Wuang sect is just a small sect because it has some connection with the Fengshan land. It can barely be regarded as a medium-sized sect. The strongest leader of the Wuang sect is only in the early stage of Xianzong." Zhang Ruomu asked in confusion, "You are just an elder of the Wuang sect, unknown. How can you be a strong man in the late Xianzong?" "Haha, there is no need to tell you this." Su Shanju's face sank, and he said lightly, "The master ordered me to take action, Zhang Ruomu." "Take it." Zhang Ruomu did not dare to be careless when he heard this. He hurriedly mobilized his true energy and prepared to fight. "Wait a minute." At this time, Su Yang suddenly spoke and smiled gently. "Zhang Ruomu, you have been quite nice to me since you showed up. I have a suggestion for you. Don't take action. The stubborn disease in your body has troubled you for many years. If the stubborn disease is not eliminated, you can't exert your strongest strength. If you take action, you will definitely lose." Su Yang smiled and continued, "Moreover, you are almost exhausted and rely on your true energy to survive. Fighting with people of the same level will only bring about your own destruction and increase the speed of your death. How did you see that?" Zhang Ruomu stared at Su Yang and murmured, "Haha, I don't like to talk nonsense." Su Yang met Zhang Ruomu's gaze and said in a deep voice, "Now, you can only pass the position of palace master to me, otherwise, no one here tonight can leave. You want to destroy the Medicine King Palace, aren't you afraid of being wiped out by the three major forces?" "No." Su Yang shook his head and said seriously, "I emphasize again that I have no ill will towards the Medicine King Palace. I just want to lead the Medicine King Palace to prosperity. As for the three major forces, haha, do you think I'm afraid? One day, sooner or later, I will trample the three major forces under my feet and let them respect me," Su Yang said coldly. "What courage?" Zhang Ruomu was not angry when he heard this, but admired it very much. But then he said, "You have the courage and insight to be the Hall Master. I can step down, but the Hall Master of the Medicine King Hall is not passed down from generation to generation. It needs to be recognized by all doctors." Zhang Ruomu said lightly, "You don't understand medicine. No matter how excellent you are, you can't be the Hall Master. So, Mr. Su, I advise you to give up this idea, so as not to bring disaster upon yourself." "Who told you that I don't understand medicine?" Hearing this, Su Yang smiled and looked at Zhang Ruomu, saying with a playful smile, "Zhang Ruomu, do you believe that I can cure your stubborn illness in just a quarter of an hour?" Chapter 250 Zhang Ruomu borrowed 100 years from the sky. Zhang Ruomu, the head of the Medicine King Hall, had been in poor health since birth. At the time, the head of the hall was Sun Qingai, a descendant of the Medicine King Sun Simiao and Sun Yixun's grandfather. He was the pinnacle of medical expertise of his time, unrivaled. Sun Qingai examined Zhang Ruomu and concluded that he was born with congenital deficiencies and would not live past the age of 20. However, Zhang Ruomu, a gifted and unparalleled medical genius, studied the treatise on febrile and miscellaneous diseases from a young age, hoping to find a way to survive. He actually found a way to survive. Using silver needles, Zhang Ruomu strengthened his acupuncture points, forcing him to live past the age of 20, a complete slap in the face of Sun Qingai. However, far from being angry, Sun Qingai admired Zhang Ruomu greatly, passing on a portion of the 1,000 gold prescription to him. He also declared that if Zhang Ruomu could live another 30 years, he would relinquish his position as head of the hall. He then convened a meeting of physicians to nominate Zhang Ruomu for the position. This news immediately captured the attention of all medical practitioners. Everyone was curious whether Zhang Ruomu could live to 50, but most were skeptical. Zhang Ruomu had become an elder at the Medicine King Hall at the age of 30, frequently appearing before the leading medical practitioners. Many could see that he was born with insufficient qi and blood, a frail body, and his primordial fire flickered, suggesting he had only a few years to live. Every medical practitioner who had seen Zhang Ruomu pronounced him a death sentence, believing he wouldn't even make it past 35. However, Zhang Ruomu not only lived past 35, but even 40, 45, and finally 50, shocking all the medical practitioners. The 8,000 medical practitioners permanently registered with the Medicine King Hall kept a close eye on Zhang Ruomu and were gradually captivated by his abilities. A man born with limited energy, relying on his medical skills, could forcibly borrow another 30 years from heaven. Such a feat was tantamount to defying the will of heaven and truly admirable. So, that year, Sun Qingai, as agreed, abdicated, and the doctors agreed, and Zhang Ruomu took the throne as palace master. However, while the 8,000 doctors recognized Zhang Ruomu, they remained extremely concerned about his lifespan, wanting to see how many more years he could live. 10 years later, Zhang Ruomu was still alive. 20 years later, the palace master was still as charming as ever. 30 years later, Zhang Ruomu was still energetic. 40 years later, the palace master was still full of energy. 50 years later, Zhang Ruomu was already 100 years old. The doctors who had previously predicted that Zhang Ruomu would not live past 50 had been outlived by him, their graves now overgrown with weeds, yet Zhang Ruomu was still alive. But it was also from that year that Zhang Ruomu's decline began. His complexion was grim, his gait was unsteady, and he coughed frequently, sometimes even coughing up blood. Therefore, someone else stepped forward to diagnose Zhang Ruomu, declaring that the palace master would pass away within 3 years. Of course, these doctors had no ill intentions in their diagnoses, they simply wanted to validate their own skills. However, time flew by, and 20 years later, Zhang Ruomu was still alive. And those doctors who had originally diagnosed Zhang Ruomu were outlasted by him. From then on, none of the doctors in the Medicine King Hall dared to pronounce Zhang Ruomu's death, fearing that they would become the third person to be outlasted by the Hall Master. Zhang Ruomu was now over 120 years old, and his condition was getting worse every year. He was hunched over, his voice was weak, and his flesh was shrunken, as if it could be blown away by a gust of wind. But he was still alive, and his strength was terrifying. He was the only late-stage Xianzong master in the Medicine King Hall. However, Zhang Ruomu's stubborn illness persisted and accompanied him throughout his life. The previous old hall master once said that congenital deficiency and loss of qi and blood were something that no one in history could completely cure, not even the reincarnation of the medical sage or the medicine king. Zhang Ruomu had managed to live to this age through his own strength, a truly remarkable feat. Everyone in the Medicine King Hall knew of this. At this moment, upon hearing Su Yang's boast that he could cure Zhang Ruomu's incurable illness, the hundreds of doctors present all scoffed. Haha, the hall master's incurable illness has plagued him his entire life. It's simply impossible to cure it. How dare Su Xuantian, an outsider, boast? This is ridiculous. Even the reincarnated medicine saint couldn't cure this incurable disease, and Su Xuantian actually claims he can. What a joke. Congenital deficiency, a loss of qi and blood, this is a condition inherited from the womb. No acquired medicine or remedies are effective, and there's absolutely no chance of a cure. This Su Xuantian is both ignorant and ridiculous. Sun Yixuan, the medicine king's heir, dressed in a suit and tie, stood quietly by, silent from beginning to end. But at this moment, he could no longer hold back, his gaze fell on Su Yang, and he smiled softly. Su Xuantian, my name is Sun Yixuan, the descendant of the medicine king Sun Samio. Yes, Su Yang met Sun Yixuan's gaze and said lightly, Mr. Sun, what do you think? Are you going to question me like those doctors? No, Sun Yixuan smiled and said, I think you are quite interesting, Su Xuantian. Perhaps you don't know that judging from the current situation of the Medicine King Palace, the next palace master must be me. I am 25 years old, in the early stage of Grandmaster. In terms of medicine, I have no rivals among the younger generation. Even most of the older generation of doctors are not as good as me. When Sun Yixuan said this, a hint of pride appeared on his handsome face, and he turned and said, however, if you can cure Grandpa Zhang, I will admit that I am not as good as you. After that, if you want to run for palace master, I don't care about other people, but I will definitely vote for you. Sun Yixuan looked at Su Yang and smiled softly. How about it? Haha, do I need your approval to be the palace master? Su Yang sneered, then didn't even look at Sun Yixuan. You? Sun Yixuan had wanted to make friends with Su Yang, but now he felt looked down upon. He gritted his teeth, and the key in his hands surged. Yixuan, don't be impulsive, you are no match for young Master Su. At this time, Zhang Ruomu spoke to stop him and said with a smile, young Master Su, from what you said, you know medicine. In that case, you can try it on me. I don't ask you to really cure me, You just need to show your medical skills, with your martial arts talent, plus the late Xianzhuang powerhouse behind you. Even if your medical skills are mediocre, I am willing to give up the position of Hall Master, and vote for you as a doctor." Zhang Ruomu smiled and continued, "Young Master Su, we can begin, okay? However, Zhang Ruomu, you underestimate me too much? Your stubborn disease is just a congenital deficiency. This kind of minor illness is not worth mentioning in my eyes." Su Yang smiled, then took 9 silver needles from Hu Shimiao, and immediately performed the 9-turn rejuvenation needle. This is the 9-turn rejuvenation needle." Zhang Ruomu's face changed drastically upon seeing Su Yang's technique. He was shocked, then his eyes flashed with intense excitement. The hundreds of doctors present, including the 9 elders, were all stunned, their faces filled with astonishment. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.